This week in PlayStation, we're talking about the fact that I've played Moss Book 2, E3 is super dead, and Project Spartacus is PlayStation Plus. We'll have all this and more because this is PS I Love You XOXO. Welcome to the show, everybody. That's Blessing. That's Janet. I'm Greg. And you can get this show on patreon.com/KindaFunnyGames, where, of course, you could get it ad-free. You could write in to be part of it. You could get it with the exclusive post show, and you could have the unlimited benefit of watching it live as we record it and being one of the trogs in the live chat. Of course, if you have no bucks, toss our way on patreon.com/KindaFunnyGames. It's no big deal. You can support this show by grabbing it over on youtube.com/KindaFunnyGames, roosterteeth.com, podcast services around the globe each and every Friday. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. PS I Love You XOXO is officially moving its recording days to Thursday to post on Friday to be the PlayStation Magazine recap of the week to Kinda Funny Games Daily's newspaper of the day. You can get it all there. Of course, if you're using the Epic Game Store, you can use the creator code Kinda Funny to support us, and that would include Rocket League, Fortnite, Fall Guys if you're playing there on your PlayStation. Thank you to our Patreon producers, Gordon McGuire, Fargo Brady, Pranksky, Dan the Golden Spider B, Tyler Ross, Delaney Twinning, First Responder ND, Julian the Gluten-Free Gamer, James Hastings, Casey Andrew. Today we're brought to you by Uplift Desk. But for now, let's start with a PSN message from you. That's right, Janet and Blessing. I asked the audience to write in for the newly revamped PS I Love You XOXO with the new segment, PSN Message, a PlayStation icebreaker. But before we get to that, Janet, how are you? You're wearing your big medal?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. It is like it's almost choking me because I had to like pull it up and like tie
How much
it.
does it weigh? It looks ginormous.
I don't know. You know what? I wish someone had asked me that before. I'll weigh it and I'll let you know. Like it'll be on the. I'll post it somewhere because I can weigh it, but it's huge. Yeah, I finished the marathon. I did complete it successfully. My time was 5 hours and 30 minutes. And now I can.
Is this your first piece of content since the marathon?
No, I did min-max like yesterday.
No,
but
okay,
it's
but
always
for
min-max.
us. Fuck them. Nobody cares about the AA league. You're here in the major league.
But it's my first time here since
Okay.
the marathon. So
Thank you.
yeah, obviously that's the only thing we're going to talk about today because that's all that's in my mind. But in all seriousness, yeah, it went good. I finished it. I chilled for a week, and now I'm back. It was weird not to play content-y games during that week too. Like I kind
What
of
did you
just
play?
went in. I played Wheel of Fortune on the Nintendo Switch. I finished Outer Wilds right
Okay.
before I went to my break.
Did that change your mind on it?
Yeah, I'll save that for like, you know, what we've been playing and that kind of stuff. But like, it was wild to finish it, like having talked to y'all like slowly as I was playing it, and to kind of end it like, wow, this like really started to come together in those last, like I marathoned the last section. And once like I finally understood the gameplay loop, I still am not in love with it the way other people are, but I respect it and I even like it a lot more than I thought. And then other stuff I played, like random stuff on the Switch. Like I kind of just chilled around. I finally started Sackboy again. I got my family back on Sackboy. We're sacking it up. So
I saw your tweet. So like you've convinced them to beat it all the way. They're like back on. We're gonna finish this. We're going all the way.
yeah, well, I finally got them to play it at least. I'm like, can we please get this done? We like scheduled it down. I put it in my calendar. I'm like, I didn't want to play it when the day came by. I'm like tired and stuff. And I'm like, we said we're doing this. So I'm like, and it was funny because they sat down. They all play games. They all like games, but it's one of those things, you know? So like Maggie literally would sit down. She's like, how long do we have to play this for? And I'm like, at least until the food gets here. Like you have to at least go until the DoorDash person gets here. So we went through like part of one world at least. And I'm like, okay, when are we playing again? And my brother's like, let's just get up Sunday morning and knock this thing out. Cause like it's hanging over our heads. Like, let's just finish it. So I'm supposed to finish it this Sunday at long last.
I'll believe when I see it. Bless, how you been? What's been happening with you?
I've been pretty good. Did GDC last week. Got sick after GDC last week and we've been dealing with that for the last few days.
Is it the vid? Do you think you have the vid?
I've been testing every single day for the vid, and so far all the tests have been
I don't
negative.
think we're calling it the vid now.
You know, I calling it the vid. What do you prefer, the Rona?
I think just COVID is fine.
Jen calls it the pandemic the panini. You know, we could. I mean, how about that? Is that fun?
The pandemonium.
Ooh, no,
It's
even
a-
as you
it's a
said it,
choice.
even as you said it, you knew that one didn't work.
The Panda Express. But yeah, no, I've been testing. I've been negative. But like even with that, right, with the symptoms I have, it's been very minor stuff. Like nothing has been like fucking up my life or anything like that. I was very tired yesterday, and so I skipped out on Gamescast because like by the time I got to the end of KFGD, I was like. Yeah, I listened to it and I was kind of bummed out because like I thought it was gonna be a Tiny Tina's review, so I was like, I didn't play Tiny Tina anyway, so I don't have anything to talk about. And then I saw it upload and I saw that you guys were talking about the review skill, and I was like, oh well, I would have liked to talk about that, but it's fine, it's okay.
Do you have something to say right now? You have the floor.
No, you guys nailed it. you guys
did all this
You want to
stuff.
start some
Nothing.
fucking shit now? You want to come in and throw in left-hand hooks?
Yeah, no, you guys nailed it. I think the one thing I would have added, and I'm not finished listening to it. I'm still like toward the end of that discussion, so maybe you guys do bring this up. I think one of the things I would have brought up was the fact that reviews mean a lot of different things to different people, right?
Sure.
Like when I read an IGN review, I'm often like, okay, I'm reading this as like kind of a product review. Where if you asked me like a decade ago when I'd be at a GameStop and I'm going to college and have limited funds and I see a game and I'm like, do I want to buy this game or do I not want to buy this game? I would look up the IGN review, and if it has an 8, I'm like, okay, cool. That's a green flag that, oh yeah, I can buy this product, right? Whereas like before, KindaFunny, when I did OK Beast, the website I did before this, we didn't do score reviews because like I'm typically actually not a fan of scoring things. But like when I would review something, it would be from that critical thought of, all right, how do I feel about this thing as a work of art, and how do I feel about this thing as like a game, not necessarily a product, but as a game design story. Like how do I come down on it from that? And I think in the way that people deliver reviews in different ways and the way that people come to reviews for different things, I think that can often affect how people take a thing, where they are like, oh, they said this thing is a 4 out of 5 or a 5 out of 5, but I like, everybody seems to love this thing. What does that mean for your review? And it's like, well, it doesn't matter because we're talking about somebody's perspective on a piece of art, right? Like I think you guys still got the message across as far as like what reviews mean to KindaFunny and what reviews mean to like you, Andy, Tim, Snowmike, Mike, etc. But that's something I would have thrown in there too, is the fact that like, hey, reviews don't necessarily need to be product reviews, and they don't also necessarily need to be art reviews. They are what they mean to whoever's reviewing, right? And however you receive it. But I still think it was a great discussion that, I'm kind of bummed out that I missed it because, I would have liked to participate.
Don't get sick, that's the thing.
Yeah,
That's fair.
yeah.
Stay
I got
away from
sick.
the
I
vid.
got sick, and then I missed the whole KindaFunny reunion. Bless. So
It's true.
Just don't get
Exactly.
sick.
I mean, could they reschedule to acclimate to us, the employees, Barrett?
Yeah.
Should we band together, start a union, Barrett? Are you with me, Barrett?
I'm here to overthrow the overlords like Greg
4-day
Miller,
work week,
You
Barrett.
guys need a scab. Let me know. No, I'm just kidding.
3.5-day work week. Let's go.
3.5-day work week. Greg, did you ever pick GTA Online back up?
I tried once over the weekend that after we had it, and I jumped back in, and it was exactly what you think it would be. Where I jumped in, I was like, "Let's go." I got a message, and it was somebody who wanted to do a job with me, and I was like, "All right, whatever." I couldn't tell if they weren't in the KindaFunny best friend thing, but they were in the world. I was like, "All right," and so I ran and did it, and we kept getting killed, and then it was like, "Oh, Benjamin needs me. Hold on," and like it was the whole. I put it down. I'm trying to tell this kid through the thing that I like because I was not on mic. I click on the thing, and I'm like, I gotta go do this with my kid. I'll be right back, and like, whatever. And then it was that toss up of, did I want to do that or did I want to wrestle? And I really wanted to wrestle because I am obsessed with wrestling in WWE 2K22. So I'm not off of GTA Online. You know what I mean?
But you think you're gonna still try and come back to it?
I would like to come back with like a low key thing. Like the stream was pandemonium. I started it. People are joining me. I would like a focused GTA adventure again, where it's like I go in and you come help me with certain story missions or whatever it is, something like that for get my legs that way. But it all reaches back to just there's so much to play right now.
Yeah,
there's so many things to go to.
We're in like the greatest time to be playing video games right now.
Speaking of the greatest time to be playing video games, now we're going to read this PSN message. It comes from that guy from the KindaFunny Destiny 2 PC clan, who just so happens to be having one of the best time in video games because after many months of very casually looking for a PlayStation 5 at MSRP, I have finally procured a PS5 this week. My question for you is, with roughly 18 months with your PlayStation 5, what are some of your opinions on the PS5's quality of life shortfalls and some of the quality of life aspects that the PS5 knocks out of the park? Janet Garcia,
Good question.
the PlayStation Nation turns its lonely eye to you. We'll start with shortcomings. What does the PS5 get wrong?
The first thing that I thought about for this was when you share stuff on Twitter, you cannot swear in the message at all. You can't even say damn.
This woman knows. Today on KindaFunny Games Daily, I read this whole thing about Xbox. If you've never heard of them, they're this small thing out of Seattle making games too, but nobody talks about them. They have shared a Twitter function in their Xbox thing, but they were going to take it out, it looked like, and now they've recanted and like, all right, we heard you, we'll keep it there. But my argument was that as somebody who shares via Twitter all sorts of video game stuff, the PlayStation share function is like the last way I want to do it. Because it's always, are you going to do one of those things where you put the store link in there too, trying to sell people the game? I can't curse in it. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think on the PS5, it still isn't up to 280 characters. So I'm like screwing around. It's like, I got nothing. I don't want to do this. Now, that leads to one of my wins for PlayStation 5, and it's recent though. But in terms of what they've gotten right for quality of life, the app for putting game captures onto your PlayStation app and getting your things off of there. Because this, again, like, you know, me and Blessing for a long time would just trade screenshots via PSN Message. That way we could get them onto the app that way, download them, share them via Twitter, that wherever you wanted to. The app, when they announced that, hey, you're going to be able to put the captures in the app, and obviously they took it away when they put it out accidentally and then brought it back. I still was like, this is going to be a piece of garbage. I have 2 PS5s that I've been running. So like, clearly I'm going to have to like switch which one I'm connected to make sure I connect the screens right, blah, blah. None of that has actually been a problem. It is seamless. It is happening instantaneously for most of the part. I go in there, I'm editing the wrestling videos in like SharePlay or whatever, or the Share Factory. And then they still go in there. I trim them down and they're still right there and uploaded right away. I'm so impressed with that. And it's fed into me not having to use the share function that's natively on the PlayStation 5, which I appreciate quite a bit.
And then you can swear because you'll just save it on your phone.
Then I can
and then
say
whatever,
all the cock
make
and
whatever
balls
dumb
I
joke
want.
you want to make.
Because it's annoying.
Why do you guys need to use the bad words? You know,
because sometimes like that's the only way that the joke is funny. Like, you know what I mean? Like it just doesn't punch the same way, and it's so hard to like. If you edit it, it just seems so clearly edited. So I'm just like, at this point, I'm just gonna send this. I'm just not gonna send this out because it just doesn't. I can't capture the emotion that I want to capture.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Blessing, that you don't have to swear in your captures, but I do. So fuck him and fuck you too. You know what I mean? Like, come on.
That's really good. That's really good.
Yeah.
Thank you. I shouldn't have done the him thing there. I screwed it up, but I was still, you know, you're so caught up in it. Which also, by the way, was totally what I was thinking when he slapped Chris Rock. I was like, damn.
I was thinking the same thing. Yeah, once he
Eminem
started
was so nice. Eminem made you seem like such a nice guy. You're hitting this guy in the middle of the Oscars.
Once he started like cussing him out from the audience, I couldn't help but to think like, what does Eminem think right now?
Exactly.
Like,
exactly.
Smith took it there, and I don't think Eminem would do what Will Smith did in this moment. And so like maybe Will Smith's more hardcore.
If Eminem won't do what you're doing, that's trouble. That's a big deal
exactly.
right there. Blessing, what's a shortcoming and or a pro for you? What do you think? What's a win or a shortcoming to answer the question?
For quality of life, I have like a couple of things, right? I think for me, folders is a bummer, not to see that on PS5 yet. And that was the thing that was on PS4. That was the thing that I believe was on PS3 as well. It's a thing that it seems like is always toward the latter half of the generation that they always want to add. And then when you restart to in the next generation, they always like start from ground zero and then they build those features back up, but then you lose them again. It's a thing that happens over and over again. It's a thing that always bumps me out every single time. And yeah, I miss having folders because it'd be nice to organize my game. That's first and foremost. The second thing is the cards. I think the idea is there, but the implementation still for me could use some work in terms of surfacing the features that you would use more in certain scenarios. Like I can't remember the last time where I've felt like the cards adequately help me out in terms of like game help and stuff, where I am like, I'm playing Elden Ring and there are a billion spots in Elden Ring where I'm like, all right, it'd be nice if I could know where to get more Ghost Glovewort, which is it's an item that we use to upgrade
for years. Been looking for Ghost Glovewort.
I was looking all over for Ghost Glovewort number 4, and finally yesterday I found it. Barrett knows what I'm talking about.
You could be saying anything,
ridiculous.
and I wouldn't know what you're talking about.
I'm just saying, if I can find Ghost Glovewort number 7 and 8. And I can use a bunch of those, but I can't use them until I use at least a few of like 4 and 5. Like, come on,
That's the thing
man.
is,
what are you doing?
The thing is that
game?
I had 5 through 8. I just needed 4, right? Like I had the vision. All I needed was the platform, and I found it last night. Finally, I found 4, and now my mimic tier is just tearing shit up.
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah, and so now I'm ready to fight Melania, but Barrett knows exactly what I'm talking about. The people who know. But also, it's like those are the kinds of things that I wouldn't be able to even think about the cards and game helping me out on the PlayStation. And so I still find myself going online to search up tutorial hints, or not tutorial hints, but like guide hints and all that stuff still, as much as I would have before. And so like I think having more unique tips and hints and real insight in there could help out more. And then there was a third thing. I forget what the third thing is. So I'll just stick to those two. Those two are the things that I wish were a bit better.
I think a quick shout to the cards, like, because the cards, it's more than just game help. It's like any of the kind of like last things you've done, sort of, and then sometimes it's just like random like ad space. Like the cards are sort of like random depending on what you're doing and what you've most recently like done on your PlayStation. But what I always use cards for is to pin the trophies. Like when I decide I'm going trophy hunting, I'll go into the trophies, I'll select a couple, I'll pin them in there, and then I'll kind of keep opening them and adding more in. And I really like that functionality. It just kind of, I like when things are built in that I was already going to do. Because before that feature dropped, which wasn't initially there at launch, but got kind of rolled out a little bit later, like the pinning feature, I would do that myself. Like I would write down literally on a piece of paper, like when I was going for the Overcooked Platinum, like, okay, what are the things I need to do? And then we like would go, okay, we're going to this level to get this thing done. And just being able to have it pinned to the side is just super convenient. So I really liked that feature.
The third thing that I thought of and then forgot was the PS5 doesn't ask you when you're switching apps if you want to close the previous app, if you had a previous app open. That was the thing that was there on PS4, and our theory has always been like, oh, are they going to add the quick resume like they have over on Xbox? It seems like that's not the case, and so I find it weird that like when I have Final Fantasy Origin open, for example, and I want to like play Returnal for the DLC, when I click into Returnal, it doesn't remind me that I was playing Final Fantasy, so you can still go back and save. It just jumps right into Returnal and then closes the previous app. I wish there was some kind of like warning there, just so I can know like, okay, cool, I got to make sure that I'm at a checkpoint beforehand, because sometimes I'm a dum-dum and I don't end my game somewhere that like I could save it and not lose my progress.
Super fast. On the opposite end, I'm tired of my PS5 being like, you did not shut me off correctly every 10 seconds when something goes wrong. Yeah, sometimes it doesn't always happen though. Like maybe the power goes out, something crazy happens, or at a certain point, I'm not gonna lie, I do choose chaos. I see that orange light on and I'm like, you know what? And that's why I'm always shutting down. Like I never have it go to sleep, because if I have to move it, I don't want to have to turn it on to turn it off.
Let me jump in here.
Unplug it and plug it back in.
Because mine is, you are hitting on something that is at the root of mine too, where I don't like a shortcoming that still when I redeem a code online, I still have to go to game library to download it. And I feel like both my problem and your problem, Janet, are such a problem generated by our jobs. Yes. Where a normal person isn't moving their PlayStation 5 as much as you and I are, nor are they redeeming codes.
Have like I like tweeted about this, like I think it was like some dumb joke that was like warning your PS5 or PS4 is like not turned off properly, and everyone got so mad because everyone's so sick of seeing that message. I don't know, let me know. Maybe
it is a temperamental thing, and I do feel bad, but I've been there the same as you, where it's like, all right, I want to move it downstairs, or I just need to get out of this room fast, and I see the orange light and it's like, I'm sorry, God, you know, I'll deal with it. You're allowed to yell. That's when I'll sit there and I get that beep, beep, beep. And it yells at you. You're like, I got you. I fucked up. I understand. But I'm with you of like power outage, you flip a breaker, something goes wrong and it's totally out of you're like, come on, throw me some slack here.
The one thing I'll throw in there for quality of life thing that I do like, and this is not something I've talked about as much because this is something I've only been doing recently. I've been listening to a lot of music while playing certain games, right? I think the last few have probably been Horizon, Elden Ring, and there was some other like it might have been Sifu. Where
are you pushing P while you listen to this? Is that what's happening?
I'm not pushing P. No, I'm listening to. Sometimes I push P. I'm listening to a lot of hip hop, but I also listen to podcasts as well. I listen to everything while I'm playing video games. But for video games that I don't feel like I have to be as engaged in, or I'm doing activities that don't require my attention, like in Horizon, if I'm doing like the melee pits, or if I'm doing the like hunting ground stuff, if I'm doing like any whatever side activity that's not dialogue and that's not story, I will go on Spotify and I'll just play some music in the background, right? And I've been doing that recently. It's been a wonderful way to play games that like I'm sure plenty of people already do this, but like it only registered for me recently that like, hey, I have so much downtime and I can like listen to a podcast while I'm playing all this stuff. And so I'll go in, open Spotify in the background, and then play my game in the foreground. And like the PS5 has good systems in there where you can adjust volume, do all this stuff the way you need to perfectly, which I love. Like it's changed the way I've been playing games recently. And so that's one thing I want to shout out.
All right. Any other shortcomings, any other pros, any other cons we're doing?
Let me hide games more efficiently because it's always weird and inconsistent. Fair. And I know that's a very specific weird thing for reviewers.
For press.
Yeah. But just they fix it up a little bit, whereas like on the PS4 it was a complete train wreck, where at least on the PS5 it's like at the top of the list will be whatever you most recently opened. But like sometimes games will pop up on that list before you've opened them for the first time. Sometimes they won't. It's a very confusing thing, and I just please.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for topic of the show. It's finally happened. Project Spartacus is real. And now it's just called PlayStation Plus. If you missed it over the week, ladies and gentlemen, on Tuesday, it was announced we now have a 3-tier system for PlayStation Plus. I will read through it and let you know what's up. We start with PlayStation Plus Essential. It provides the same benefits that PlayStation Plus members are getting today, such as 2 monthly downloadable games, exclusive discounts, cloud storage for saved games, online multiplayer access. There are no changes for existing PlayStation Plus members in this tier. The price for PlayStation Plus Essential remains the same as the current price of PlayStation Plus, $9.99 per month, $24.99 quarterly, $59.99 yearly. From there, we go to PlayStation Plus Extra. Provides all the benefits from the Essential tier and adds a catalog of up to 400 of the most enjoyable PS4 and PS5 games. Who's deciding what's enjoyable? PS4 and PS5 games, including blockbuster hits from our PlayStation Studios catalog and third-party partners. Games in the Extra tier are downloadable for play. This is $14.99 a month, $39.99 a quarter, $99.99 a year. And then the big dog at the top of the pile, PlayStation Plus Premium, provides all the benefits of Essential and Extra tiers, then adds up to 340 additional games, including PS3 games available via cloud streaming. Via cloud streaming, a catalog of beloved classic games available in both streaming and downloadable options from the original PlayStation, PS2, and PSP generations. Offers cloud streaming access for original PlayStation, PS2, PSP, and PS4 games offered in the Extra and Premium tiers in markets where PlayStation Now is currently available. Customers can stream games using PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 consoles and PC. Time-limited game trials will also be available at this tier, so customers can try select games before they buy. This one will be $17.99 a month, $49.99 a quarter, and then $119.99 a year. If I can read a bit from the actual blog where they explain a bit more into it, right? Here we go. The new Extra and Premium tiers represent a major evolution for PlayStation Plus. With these tiers, our key focus is to ensure that the hundreds of games we offer will include the best quality content that sets us apart. At launch, we plan to include titles such as Death Stranding, God of War, Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales, Mortal Kombat 11, and Returnal. We're working closely with our imaginative developers from PlayStation Studios and third-party partners to include some of the best gaming experiences available with a library that will be regularly refreshed. More details to come on the games we'll have on our new PlayStation Plus service. When the new PlayStation Plus service launches, PlayStation Now will transition into the new PlayStation Plus offering and will no longer be available as a standalone service. PlayStation Now customers will migrate over to the PlayStation Plus Premium with no increase to their current subscription fees at launch. As this is a massive launch effort, we're rolling out the new PlayStation Plus offering in a phased regional approach. In the June timeframe, we'll begin with an initial launch in several markets in Asia, followed by North America, Europe, and the rest of the world where PlayStation Plus is offered. We aim to have most PlayStation Network territories live with our new PlayStation Plus game subscription service by the end of the first half of 2022. We also plan to expand our cloud streaming benefit to additional markets, and we'll provide more details at a later date. With the all-new PlayStation Plus, we are focused on delivering compelling game subscription service with curated content from our exclusive PlayStation Studios team and our third-party partners. The newly enhanced PlayStation Plus will enable our fans to discover and engage with more content than ever before and deepen their connection with the PlayStation community through shared experiences. Janet, are you excited to deepen your connection with the PlayStation community through these shared experiences?
You know, it's hard to imagine the connection getting any deeper, but you know, it's nice to dream. I'm lightly excited. I feel like just the fact that this is a new revamp and getting to see like what it actually has to offer, I think is the most exciting element. Like, I really want to see how big it's, the live up to 400 for the Extra tier. How close up to that 400 are we getting? What does the rollout look like on a month-to-month basis? Like, what's the cadence of stuff entering? What's the cadence of stuff leaving? Like, what is, and then obviously we're in a unique position where we do play like a lot of these games. So I'm very curious to see, is there stuff in that like Extra tier that I haven't hit up yet that I feel like is viable for me? And then to dig deeper too, if we're thinking of comparison points, is that stuff also already on Game Pass? Like, how much is this going to be, a competitor, a companion piece? Is it going to be either of the two? And then do I want to just, of course, pay, if I want to go the Extra tier, do I want to just put the other $20 for the year and then avoid having to think and explore what's going on that higher end? I'm also curious to see how different is this from what we saw on PS Now when we did our review earlier in the year. Like, how many of those games are the same? How many are extra? Like, is it You know, when we saw the leaks of this, it kind of sounded like they're taking PS Now and splitting it in half and then kind of dumping it into two piles, which is kind of what they're doing. But it does sound like they are like beefing up both those sections quite a bit. Obviously, the fact that not everything is downloadable is a bummer, but that's also not a big surprise either. So, but it does make the third tier less appealing, even though, let's be real, am I even going to be playing those games anyway? I don't know. But the option to download them and not play them is like what I come to gaming to do.
You say it's not that, it's, you know, not that unexpected. You can't download these things, right? Blah, blah, blah. Blessing Adeoye Jr. Do you believe that? I saw you on Tuesday on Twitter heartbroken that you couldn't download your PlayStation 3 games.
I don't think. I think the part of it that is a surprise is just the fact that they didn't want to try hard enough. Like them telling me that I won't be able to download PS3 games. I don't look at that. I'm not like, really, how fucking dare, like I'm not surprised that they wouldn't let me do that. I'm surprised that like it is this unexciting. The fact this revamp of PS Plus is this unexciting, right? The way I look at this, right? I don't even look at this as a Game Pass competitor. I look at it as two things. I think this is them cleaning shit up, and it's them doing housekeeping for, all right, PlayStation Now doesn't have the branding and the excitement for the branding that we wanted to have. Let's fold PlayStation Now into PS Plus and then bolster up PS Plus, because PS Plus is our main thing, and we think we can sell PS Plus easier as one thing that is multi-tiered, as opposed to selling people on PS Plus main and then also PlayStation Now. PlayStation Now has always felt like the extra thing that nobody really needs. It is there as an extra thing, right? I think that's first and foremost. And so this is housekeeping. I think the other thing that this is also a value add, because when you look at this objectively with all the features that they're talking about here between PS Plus Essential, which is what we already have as PS Plus, right? PlayStation Plus Extra, and then PlayStation Plus Premium, them adding in the PSP and PS1 games, right? That is an ad. We didn't have that before. Them adding in, you would hope, more PS2 games, because we do have PS2 games on PlayStation Now, but it's not a great selection. Them potentially adding more of that stuff, I think, is exciting. And I think when you take this, right, and you look at the price, comparing the highest level of this, which is Premium, comparing Premium to the price of PlayStation Now plus PlayStation Plus, if you're paying for both already, you're paying probably about the same thing. And when you're paying probably about the same thing, you're getting more features. I think that is a value add. I think that is a step up. I think the way that they're communicating this, and the way that the yet to be seen information that we don't have yet, which are like, what does the library look like for these things, right? I think those are the things that keep it unexciting, because they're not really selling us on this. They're kind of just telling us that, hey, this is happening. Like, we're changing PS Now into PS Plus Plus and PS Plus Plus Plus, right? Like, this is what we're doing. But yeah, like, I do want to see the library. I do want to see how many PS1 and PS2 games are going to be on there, right? What are the PSP games going to be? My expectations right now is that we are going to see the same library that was on PlayStation Now be the same library that's in this thing, because it is just them folding it in together. The PS1 games that I expect are the PS1 games that were in that PlayStation 1 classic console that we got a few years ago that came out and flopped. My prediction is that they're literally just lifting those games, putting them in here. And maybe we get a few more, maybe we get a few less, depending on deals and how talks go with that. But that's my base expectation for games that they probably already have access to and they've already made deals for. And then for PS2, I kind of expect the bare minimum, but I do hope we get exciting stuff. I do hope that, like, because I think those are the opportunities that they have for slam dunks. Them saying PS3 games would have been natively downloadable, that would have been a slam dunk that I think would have gotten people excited, at least a certain amount of the audience excited, right? Not for everybody, of course. Like, PS3 games aren't the biggest seller for the entire audience, but I do think there's a sector of the audience that would have popped off for that. They would have been like, oh shit, this is dope.
It would have been nice, I mean, just to have them, from the native perspective, right? Instead of having to stream, because that has been the holdup to them. What's you know, the argument about this, and what's interesting about this, right, is something that Jim Ryan was interviewed over on gamesindustry.biz about all these things. And what he was talking about was the 48 million PlayStation Plus subscribers. And so to already have that embedded, right, these 48 million PlayStation Plus, from a business perspective, breaking this up and giving you the option to pay more, even if 2% of those people go and upgrade, right, they're going to get this boost in the arm to it, let alone the fact that PlayStation gets to boast about how many people now are streaming their games and using what was PlayStation Now, but in general, you know, streaming PlayStation games and getting in there. And so I think that's where the benefit of it comes in. And again, I doubt the idea here is to get you to go up and stay up forever, right? That's what they'd love you to do if you're a PlayStation Plus. You're one of these 48 million. They'd love you to come in, go to the new tier, stick around forever. Really what they want you to do is go in there, try it out, because you see this PSP game you've heard so much about, this PS1 game you've heard so much about, and then forget about it and let it roll over. And then, there's something that gets added that you go, oh, well, I'm glad I still have it for that reason, but you don't think too much about it. Who I want to introduce here is Paul M. Paul M wrote into patreon.com/kindafunnygames and says, hey, Greg, Blessing, and Janet. As I look over the news about the 3 tiers of PlayStation Plus, I find it very underwhelming. The point that keeps sticking out to me is the number of games, parentheses 740, is very similar to the current number of games on PlayStation Now, which leads me to believe that the catalogs will be very similar, with the addition of some PS1, PSP, and PS5 games. I've had PlayStation Now for a year now and have gotten some value from it, but probably not enough to justify the cost. I found the catalog to be mostly a few solid titles, parentheses, many of which I've already played, and a lot of shovelware. Do you really have faith in Sony that it's going to be 740 good games, or will it look dramatically similar to the current lineup? If it is a similar lineup to PlayStation Now, isn't removing the ability to pay only for PlayStation Now and not PlayStation Plus actually a step backward instead of a step forward? The only thing that could really get me excited for this new service is if they add trophy support to all the PS1 and PS2 games on the service. Thanks for your thoughts. Paul M, aka Tacky the Penguin.
What a brutal question. I mean, do I have faith? No, I don't have faith.
Yeah.
Because I do think that math adds up. And like Blessing also mentioned this, where it's most likely just going to be the kind of games that we already saw, which were like a mixed bag, like some of those were really like big hits, but then it's like, but do you want to play it on this form? Has this game been ported elsewhere and done better? Like there's a bunch of, I think especially in a space where so much has already happened in the way of subscription service, in the way of people like having, up-res things, like it's sort of hard to get excited for some of those more classic titles for that reason. And then you add in the cloud element of it too for the PS3 stuff. Yeah, like I'm not really expecting a super banger lineup, but I do think I think what I'm hoping for the most is that we see some like heavier hitters in that extra tier specifically, because like that's the more modern tier, and I think that's kind of the more interesting tier, because I just don't really see them having like, in terms of the premium stuff, like there's this hit, unless they like added in like the download feature, there's this hit game that like people have been clamoring for. I just don't think the library and the community really functions quite that nostalgia heavy, as much as I know people like love, the PS2, the PS3, and like want, like the desire is there, but I feel like it's not as hot in the streets as it might be like in other places. And then is this a step back? I don't think it's a step back, because I do get that technically if you only had PS Now, this is like making you get PS Plus, but I feel like that's such a weirdly specific person to only have PS Now and not have PS Plus. I think more likely than not, if you had PS Now, you were paying for both, and then it's the same difference, if not like a little bit better, and hopefully having more eyes, having potentially more users, it creates more of a community around it, so that there can be a support and a demand that we maybe haven't seen before. So I guess I'm more so hoping that a year out from now, we get into a really nice like cadence and flow, and we start to kind of see this take shape, and hopefully it has a compelling enough update throughout the year to make it feel like this is a service that is really part of the PlayStation community and not just something that like a few people have.
Blessing, what's your faith level?
I'm right there with Janet in terms of, I think it is going to be what it is, which is like what the PlayStation Now library is. The thing that I think gets me excited about this is that we are seeing PS5 games get added into the PlayStation Extra, PS Plus Extra category, which is a thing that we didn't have before. PlayStation Now does not have PS5 games. And with them talking about Returnal and talking about Miles Morales and talking about even like Death Stranding, right? And I'm sure that might just be the OG version. That might not be the definitive edition. But regardless,
it definitely isn't, right? You would call out if it was the definitive edition. You would definitely make the point to say that.
Exactly. But like we're talking about a thing that's coming out. Again, this is June-ish that they're going to start rolling this out, and that is a bit over a year for Returnal, right? That's about a year and a half, I think, for Miles Morales. That's like not that bad for games that are fresh-ish for the library. By that time, they'll still be like, they'll feel like older games, but those are PS5 games. I think that becomes an exciting thing. And I think a lot of this is going to be us waiting for the library and us waiting for the list of games that are going to be there. Sure. I think like in terms of the trophy thing, you're not going to get trophies. That's a lot of work. And that's work that PlayStation would have to put into those PS2, PS1 games that, to Janet's point, like I agree and disagree. I think PlayStation thinks the way that Janet is laying it out in terms of the numbers aren't there for legacy stuff, right? People don't care about that stuff. That's not where the money is. And so why would we do the work into implementing trophies into these old games?
I mean,
the place where I disagree is that I think they could get it there if they put in the work, and they just don't want to put in the work because it's going to take millions of dollars.
For sure.
And it is going to take them doing what Xbox has been doing, which is finding ways to add in FPS boost, finding in ways to add in like all these cool little perks, bells and whistles that make people go, oh man, there's to throw out like a PS2 game's beloved, right? Oh man, Burnout 3 is on here, which Burnout 3 is like not available in many places right now. Burnout 3 is on here, like one of my favorite PS2 racers. Oh, and it has trophies. Oh, and it runs at 120 FPS. Oh, and it runs at 4K. I would be playing that nonstop. Like, I would be hooked on that game. And I'm sure there are plenty of games in the library where if you said the same thing about those games, right? Like, think of Metal Gear Solid. If you're going for PSP, think of Peace Walker. Think of like some of our favorite.
Which I know, like, oh, you can play Peace Walker on your PS3 right now. Like, there's the game. I'm like, you know how hard. Again, we're back to how hard it is to play that game right now on a PlayStation 5.
Exactly. Like, if PlayStation came out and we're like, Greg Miller, you can play Peace Walker on your PS5 at 120 FPS at 4K with trophies. Like, think about how dope that would be, and think about how much you would go back to your favorite games to play that.
Yeah.
Like, that is a thing that is an option, and Xbox has been doing that type of stuff. And I think if they did that, that would generate an excitement and generate like a vibrancy for the catalog that like would get people hyped about some of their classic franchises returning if they wanted to go that direction. The thing is, that is a big commitment that would take a lot of work that for PlayStation, they're probably just like, well, we can just focus on the new stuff because what we're doing right now is working. And so I think that's honestly really the thing, and the reason why you don't see them put in the extra work to get PS3 games playable and downloadable on the service.
Really
for
quick,
sure,
just
right?
to put with the older games possibly not having trophies, I would push back on it just a little bit because we have seen with the PS2 to PS4 games, like those did come with trophy support, like Bully has a platinum and stuff like that. So I could see them, if it's a small curated list of PS1, PS2, and PSP games, I could see them trying to carry those things over.
And I guess like I'm thinking of it as like an expansive list because that's the thing I was thinking about.
The problem is I'm in it with you where I see this being, oh, we're gonna have a ton of PS2 games, a ton of PSP games. If it is, we're launching with 5 PS2 games and 3 PSP games, then you fucking better put trophies in them. You better treat it like Hot Shots Tennis PS2 when you gave that trophies.
So that's what I was bringing up a tweet that I had the day that this broke, I believe, or on the 29th. So with PlayStation Now currently, or this was from early last year, has 375 PS3 games. And what did I tweet here? If the highest tier of PS Plus gets you 340 backwards compatible titles between PSX, PS2, PSP, and PS3, they're dwindling down the total PS Now library size most likely. It could be that they want to be more selective this time around since PS Now was really a really weird hodgepodge of games outside of the first party selection. I wouldn't be surprised though if most of these 340 games were PS3 titles and then a select few were PSX, PS2, and PSP games. I'm talking like 300 of the games being like stream only PS3 games and like 40 split between PS1, PS2, and PSP.
And that also makes me wonder how they're going to go about it in terms of like, is this going to be like Nintendo Switch Online where, they start off with NES Online and you have here's 50, or I guess I forget the number. Let's say 30. There's 30 games, and then a month later they add in 2 games, and then a month later they add in 2 games, right? Is it going to be like that for the extra tier for the classic games? And is it also going to be the same thing for PS4 and PS5 for the extra tier? From the PlayStation blog post, it sounds like for sure for PS4, PS5, that is what they're going to do, right? As the month and years go on, they're going to add in more games and possibly have games leave it as well.
That's I think more likely. I mean, PlayStation Now already cycled its library and what it put in there, right? There was obviously a whole bunch of stuff that just was there, but they did go through and cycle. And so Barrett, I really liked your tweet. I was going to get to it on the show, and I think you're looking at a similar thing here. Of like, are they going to be more choosy about the library? I highly doubt it. Like, I think one of the reasons too with these numbers, like they're giving you their bare minimum. Hopefully, I'm sure they want to have more than that when they launch and where they want it to be with, all this different shovelware and other things in there. But again, to what we're talking about, right? This is trying to make it a value add. It's trying to be this idea that you already pay for PlayStation Plus, so why not go up a little bit more, or why not enjoy what you already have? But it's just $5 more. It's just $10 more. It's just whatever it's going to be for you to go up a little bit. Because that's, of course, the classic breakdown of any of this shit, right? Where you look at it and it's like, oh, it's $10 a month, or I can go to 15 a month, or if I'm going 15, why not go the 18 a month? It's just $3 more. Suddenly you start talking that way. And what do you want? What do you want to get out of it? And it will be, I assume, that they make a big deal about what they have on that first day and date in terms of what you can only get from the premium tier, and then also continuing to add and, you know, cycle things out to keep you at that tier. That's what they have to do if they want this thing to matter. But it all goes back to, of course, what PlayStation is, and PlayStation is still on top, and they still aren't feeling the need to make those moves, right? To actually get as competitive Xbox Game Pass has been, where Xbox, of course, has gone out of their way to put all their first party stuff on, which brings us back to the gamesindustry.biz interview I was talking about, where Jim Ryan was getting interviewed. I'm going to read a bunch of quotes here from that gamesindustry.biz piece. This is Jim Ryan, of course, the big cheese of PlayStation. Quote, "We feel like we're in a good virtuous cycle with the studios," explains PlayStation CEO Jim Ryan, "where the investment delivers success, which enables yet more investment, which delivers yet more success. We like that cycle, and we think our gamers like that cycle." He continues, "In terms of putting our own games into this service, or any of our services, upon their release, ... As you well know, this is not a road that we've gone down in the past, and it's not a road we're going to go down with this new service. We feel if we were to do that with the games that we make at PlayStation Studios, that virtuous cycle will be broken. The level of investment that we need to make in our studios would not be possible. And we think the knock-on effect on the quality of the games that we would make would not be something the gamers would want." Interview goes on for a bit and then comes back to it kind of like this. "The way the world is changing so very quickly at the moment, nothing is forever. Who would have said even 4 years ago that you would see AAA PlayStation IP being published on PC? We started that last year with Horizon Zero Dawn, then Days Gone, and now God of War, a hugely polished and accomplished PC version of that game. We've had great critical success and great commercial success, and everybody has made their peace with that happening and is completely at ease with it. I look back 4 years, and I think nobody would have seen that coming. So I don't want to cast anything in stone at this stage. All I'm talking to today is the approach we're taking in the short term. The way our publishing model works right now, it doesn't make any sense. But things can change very quickly in this industry, as we all know." So starting at the end, Jim Ryan literally saying what this podcast and 1,000 other podcasts have ever said. As soon as Xbox even gets close to the lead or flipping the script or becoming the dominant gaming force, PlayStation will come out and say, all right, you know what? Day and date, first party for all the people who have the PlayStation Plus Premium Edition. We're putting them out there right away. And, here we are. We've decided to make peace with it 4 years ago. Yada. That is strictly driven by money and success. But to step back from that, Janet, I have been saying for years that the PlayStation virtuous cycle needs to be respected and protected. Do you agree?
New PR term just dropped.
I mean, oh my God. In a way, I mean, it's one of those weird things where there's that line of like what we want versus what we think will happen, and what maybe even in some ways is good for the company. Like PlayStation doesn't have any incentive to do day and date right now, and that's like why they don't. And I think the whole like, who's to say what's going to happen? It's like that person who's like, I don't want to get married right now. Who's to say it? It's like, okay, this person's not going to marry you. And if they are, it's going to be so far down the line that your relationship has become so soured that the marriage is doomed, And obviously here,
a lot of people are listening to this right now are hurt based off you just saying that right now, Janet.
That often happens.
I worry more about Isaiah next to her at the desk being like slowly looking over.
He doesn't know what's going on. Anyway, but yeah, like this does not surprise me at all. And I also think that like, I don't personally mind it necessarily. It's like, it's what I'm used to, like the cost of a PlayStation AAA, and like this is what we've already had, and I didn't expect any difference. So like, it is funny that there's like this virtuous cycle, like it's working so well. And I think it's a weird word to use because it has like morality implications, which I think kind of inadvertently fits into like the thing that I'm always talking about here, which is like, PlayStation is, and not just because they named their last, like their most of the tier premium, that's like the vibe of their brand. They're like, oh, this is like the bougie console. This is the like intensive orchestrated experience. And we only craft the most. Yeah, like that is the energy they like give off. So it makes sense that like there'd be this language about like this amazing cycle of genius that's like, and it's not to, slight any of the stuff that's come out. Like some of my favorite games have been PlayStation first party, but yeah, this is like completely on brand versus like, again, the opposite that Xbox has, which their messaging is like, we're for the people. What's your favorite game you're playing this weekend? Ours is a PlayStation game because we just love games. Like that's, those are the two opposite energies. And at any point, anyone can change what their morals are or their business sense is in order to turn a profit. So yeah, this fits.
Blessing, do you appreciate the virtuous cycle?
Honestly, like I think the term virtuous cycle is hilarious, but I also see what he's talking about,
Of
right?
course.
Like him saying that, hey, like we strive for a certain quality in our games, in our game development, and we're making the God of Wars, we're making the Last of Us's, we're making the Ghosts, we're making these games that are what we view as premium AAA games with a lot of polish, a lot of love. Like these are the games that our audience look forward to the most. I do think that development cycle is only possible because they are charging a lot of money for these games and they're not putting these games day to day on the service. The thing that I do appreciate is him saying that, like, yeah, the way the world is changing, like nothing is forever. And so like
Sure.
if years from now we decide to do it, we'll do it. But like right now, that's not what we're deciding to do. That to me is actually pretty like, I think that's pretty enlightening because I think that is them showing a certain sense of, hey, we don't have all of this figured out. Like right now we have it figured out for us, but that doesn't necessarily mean that like what we're seeing our competition do isn't changing the game, and that might not affect us, right? Like if that becomes what the normalized thing is and we see value in doing that and making that shift, we'll make that shift. I like them leaving that door open because yeah, I think there's something there, right? And I'm excited about the idea that maybe there is a way to make the God of Wars in these games while putting them day and date on the services. Maybe if the services do well enough. But for what Jim Ryan's talking about with the virtuous cycle, like I kind of agree and I kind of get it. And I don't think that also cuts off the door in terms of any PlayStation game coming day and date, right? This is the thing that we've talked about in months prior and speculating what Project Spartacus is going to be in the wake of all these partnerships between Haven, even though now they've acquired Haven, but like Haven,
These smaller
Deviation,
games.
like these smaller games, like even like what the Concrete Genie studio, right? Like there are these studios that do make smaller games for PlayStation that could make sense to put on a service like this, especially when you talk about the multiplayer stuff, right? Like you have Last of Us Factions coming up, you have whatever Bungie is working on, you have all these multiplayer games that could maybe make sense to put out day and date so that you build a player base so that you can make money off of microtransactions and like further monetization that doesn't just have to be buying the game at $70. I think this can open up the door for that. And like I could see those games being on here. I could also see those games releasing like the way they would traditionally release. But in a world that's changing and in like an ecosystem that's changing, right? In terms of multiplayer stuff and ongoing games leaning more toward the free to play or like the subscription to play sort of systems. I think having a PS Plus extra tier that could fit that stuff might be able to work for them in terms of getting the Haven game, getting the Bungie's game, getting whoever in there for access. And so like I think the way I read it is this is going to be a thing for them to experiment with and play around with and see what works for them and what works for their business.
On that note, do you think there's going to be, we've talked about like PS Plus being like pretty good as of late. Do you think we'll see like that become a little bit weaker to bolster up PlayStation Plus Extra? Like, let's say like Haven's next project, it's dropping on PlayStation Plus, but would that be in the essential tier or the extra tier? And then as a result, is that essential tier only ever going to be just older stuff? Like we're not going to see like, Chicory, Bug Snacks, that kind of thing.
I think it's gonna be tough. Like to keep the PlayStation Plus essential 2 free games a month or however many free games a month here. To keep that as bangers.
Say 2, yeah.
Yeah, like to keep that bangers and then to keep the PlayStation Plus Extra, the monthly games come onto their bangers. Like I think it's gonna be rough. I think at the very least it's gonna be what we've been getting, which is like, the PlayStation Now drops haven't been terrible by any means for the games that have been coming out for it. Like they've been ignorable, but they've not been bad. I think I could see that status quo continuing, and then for us to be getting the PS Plus games we've been getting, I could also see it being the flip of now they are like, all right, let's focus in on PlayStation Plus Extra. Let's give you the banger games that you've been getting for the last year that are coming out day and date, like the Operation Tango's, Destruction All Stars, all the maquettes, all these other games that have been coming out day and date. Let's move those up to the PlayStation Plus Extra tier as a way to kind of compete with Game Pass, right? Or at least give our audience value and give them incentive to bump up that extra tier because they're seeing the exciting games come out on that extra tier. I can see it either way, but I think it's tough to say right now.
I think my personal prediction would be the day and date stuff that they've done for PlayStation Plus before will move to the extra tier. and your monthly downloadable games will be older stuff, right? Because even pulling in, we eventually want to get down to, this week in PlayStation talk about it, but the PlayStation Plus games for April have been revealed, right? It's Hood, Outlaws and Legends, SpongeBob SquarePants, Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated. I knew you'd be there. And then Slay the Spire, right? And Hood, Outlaws and Legends, that's already been out for a while, right? Or is this
that came out about a year ago?
That's the one you and I played, right? On PlayStation Plus for the thing, the multiplayer.
I don't know if you and me played it. I definitely played it with. I played it with my friend Yami, and I think Mike played it as well. And all of us were like, "This game is very bad."
Okay. So it's the thing of those are I can't. Well, Hood sucks or whatever. Barrett, you like SpongeBob, right?
It's a fantastic game from my childhood.
And Slay the Spire obviously is super beloved and
it's a beloved
critically acclaimed. But these games are old. They've been around a while. I think you get that, and I think that's what I'd be expecting moving forward for PlayStation Plus Essential. We're giving you 2 games, hopefully of quality, hopefully stuff you've heard about and liked, but 2 games that, all right, you didn't play them before, but now that they're free, maybe you will. Whereas the PlayStation Plus Extra, I think they want that incentive, right? Okay, and I also think the marketing rights itself, right? Of what if they ever do get pinned down, if Jim Ryan gets an interview and he gets a hard question, right? Of well, why are Super Giant? This is not real. Super Giants next game has been announced. It's day and date on PlayStation Plus Extra. That's how you got to go get it. That's how we're gonna do it. All right, cool. People get mad. Jim Ryan gets pinned down. He's like, listen, we're funding people's games. We're paying for these games, which is why we want these day and date things. So we're giving them money. We need more money from you. And it's just $5. It's just a little bit of an increase in what you're going for, right? And then you reserve as you go up. I think, obviously to the premium tier, that's where you're getting the more PlayStation-y catalog, all these historic things and what's going on.
Yeah.
It's past modern and then super past.
But yeah, I think you're seeing the fruits of that not only with the PS Plus of this next month, but also with the PS Now that we got in the first week. There was Shadow Warrior 3 coming out day and date for PS Now, which is the first time that I believe that's ever happened day and date for a game like that. And so if that's signs of what's to come, yeah, I could see a bit more of that. And imagine if we've had the success stories of things like Rocket League and Fall Guys, and we always talk about how dude, yeah, that was a PS Plus launch, and look how dope that was. I think you then usher that into the story about PlayStation Extra, and that is the thing that bolsters up that service. And then I think you also look at games like Rainbow Six Extraction and other games that are being put out by big third-party publishers that end up on Game Pass for I guess not for free, but for the subscription. But then you are buying full price on PlayStation. I could see a case where Ubisoft is hey, we want to put this out for some kind of subscription fee, or we want some bulk, hey, you give us this amount of money, we'll put it out on your service so that we can then let the game live and make that money up by transactions or whatever it may be.
Sure.
If Ubisoft wants to do that for Game Pass, I could see them also being yo, what if we did it for PlayStation Plus Extra as well, right? Can we double dip it in that way and put these things out on both services? Unless there's some kind of exclusivity there, but...
Bander SN in the live chat, one of the trogs over here on patreon.com/kindafunnygames, has an interesting point that I didn't take into account. Bander SN writes in and says, but does that mean, if we were saying, I'm saying I think the day and date stuff goes to PlayStation Extra, but does that mean they can take away these games if it's on Extra? A PlayStation Plus game is permanent. A game on Extra doesn't have the same promise. That's a great point, that it is talking about this catalog of 400 of the most enjoyable things, blah, blah. The games in the Extra tier are downloadable for play. For PlayStation Plus, or I'm sorry, for PlayStation Now, correct me if I'm wrong, if you had downloaded a game and they took it off of the service, you would lose access to it? Is it pinging for that? So. Yeah, right? Okay.
I think it is.
That is an interesting take. But again, I think you could get around... This is all, here's where we're just so out to sea in the hyperbole and the hypothetical or whatever. I could see the messaging changing of PlayStation Plus and then putting a game there is their Game Pass. That's the start of their Game Pass tier. Because Game Pass, of course, you can download and play these games, but when it leaves Game Pass, you lose the game there, right? It's that kind of argument. Granted, again, does that fundamentally change what the PlayStation Plus as it has been for what you're doing, yada, yada, yada? Yes, no, it's all in the messaging. You're still getting these free games that you get to keep, but the hot newness that we're partnering with Ubisoft, we're partnering with EA, we're partnering with Supergiant or whatever small developer to do their game is beneficial, you figure. Again, if I'm Jim Ryan and I'm getting pinned down on this question, yeah, we're putting it at this tier because we want you to make money, because we want you to give us our money so we can keep putting in our new virtuous cycle of partnering with people. But on top of that, It's the fact that when that game leaves the service, now that developer is getting to sell that game to the audience that missed it. And they are like, oh man, I'd really like to see it. Similar to a PlayStation Plus game of when, if you missed it on PlayStation Plus, Janet Garcia, then you have to buy it later on. You know what I mean?
And to be clear, right, like this isn't us saying that PS Plus games are going away. And like, I think even if Jim Ryan got pinned down on the question, he'd be like, what are you talking about? We still have PS Plus games, right? You still got like Slay the Spire, and that's exciting, right?
Yeah.
And like the theoretical interviewer talking here, like them bringing up like, yeah, but none of these games are day and date anymore. Jim Ryan would just be like, well, like we never promised day and date game. That was never a promise. That just happened to be the case back in 2020 when we had the bangers to put out.
Things have shifted. Yeah.
Yeah, like as long as we're still putting out quality games they can redeem forever, like nothing is changing for you. And then that is like implicitly like in the back end, maybe those deals are like, okay, cool, yeah, we'll give that stuff to you on PS Plus Extra. It gets taken off, but also like, does that really matter for the conversation? Does that really matter for the way they sell that, right? Like, I think there is still that level of hype where right now, if they told you that you're getting Jedi Fallen Order 2 day and date on PlayStation Plus Extra, even if it's leaving 6 months later, that's still an exciting thing, right? Like, we're not really thinking about when it's leaving, we're thinking about when it's coming to the service, and I think that's still a banger announcement to make.
And that's the thing. I think, we touched on it, but just as we start to wind this down, of course, like at launch, we plan to offer the titles like Death Stranding, God of War, Marvel Spider-Man, Spider-Man Miles Morales, Mortal Kombat Returnal. It will be interesting to see going forward if they come up with a doctrine, because like think of like Marvel Unlimited, right? Where I think it's 3 months now. Me and Tim just talked about this, where you're not getting your comic books day and date, but if you wait the 3 months, then the stuff that you're getting stuff at a delay. Do they ever come out and say what that would be for PlayStation? I doubt it for their first party studios, but you start adding that stuff in there, it does get back to what we're talking about of like, all right, cool. Well, if you skip those big games
at this rate, like I can see Horizon Forbidden West being added to PlayStation Plus Extra in about a year, like a year and a half, maybe.
If they charge for the DLC, I could see that as well.
Do you think we'll get DLC? Because I really want DLC.
I think they would. I think you would, right? I think, I mean, I guess the argument, Frozen Wilds, they talked about it. Sorry, what was that, Jen?
The director's cut of Horizon Forbidden West.
Oh, you're right, actually. There it is.
That's a good point.
Exactly
that's a really good point.
What am I fucking saying?
Of course, they've not done that yet, though, right? Like launching the base game on PS5 and then a director's cut again on PS5.
I mean,
because like director's cut has been like a way to remaster.
They would do something weird like that, though. Like it's like with the Persona 5, like when they put that on, it's like, why isn't this Royale? Like why not? And people were just like, all right, well, whatever, better than nothing. So I could see them having
I could see them doing it, Bless, just because then it's a way to double dip on it. In the same way we're talking about Death Stranding here, and I know I understand the point you're making, but like it's not Death Stranding director's cut. Like if there's some way to paywall behind and then give somebody a taste and then charge them the $10 or $20 for the upgrade, I think you'd do it that way.
If they did that instead of just charging for the DLC, or like if they did it without giving you an upgrade path of like, oh yeah, if you just want the director's cut but you already have the base game, pay $10 or $20 or however much it is. If they make you pay the full price again,
they would make you pay the full.
I'll be on the front lines.
You don't really own the game, so you wouldn't be able to like if you have like a game on a service like that, you can't just buy the DLC or buy an upgrade because you don't actually own that game. You're like renting it essentially, so like you wouldn't be able to I think add on stuff to it because it's not yours.
Well, no, I'm not even talking about the service anymore. I'm just talking about generally in terms of like Horizon Forbidden West and the Forbidden West director's cut.
It's like trying to customize
if I had to
car
pay full price for the director's cut, I am leading a rebellion.
Before we get out of here, because I want to move on to other parts of the show or whatever, but right now PlayStation Plus, Paul M described it as very underwhelming. Janet, is this underwhelming?
This is so tough because we saw it already before. Is it no, I feel whelmed, even though I don't think that's a word. Like this is about what leaks aside, this is about what I expected. Like I never thought this was going to necessarily knock it out the park. And as much as, a lot of people are like, so much of the media has been talking about this as a Game Pass competitor. It's not going to be. You're going to be disappointed. You're setting people up to be. I was like, oh, look, okay, calm down. Like when I still stand by that language because inherently when you're making a subscription service or you're inherently competing with the other services around, you're going to be compared to it. It's the other things that you have. It doesn't mean that PlayStation will or needs to make an exact one-to-one, but like this, Nintendo Online, Game Pass, Apple Arcade, like they're all in the same kinds of, whatever, like Stadia stuff, like they're all in the same kinds of conversations because they're offering the same kind of idea.
Stuff, yeah.
So yeah, this is like, I feel whelmed by this. I hope that I start feeling really excited about it as it actually comes out and as we see how the updates and like the cadence of what those games and the rollout is. But for right now, I'm just I'm fine with it. I don't know what I'm doing with it either. Like, do you guys know if are you upgrading? Are you doing extra?
Yeah,
Are
I'm
you
going
doing
extra.
premium?
Or I'm going premium. Whatever the highest level is. I still got to memorize it. It's a
Premium.
lot of words, but I'm going premium.
Also, I'm sad that I'm underwhelmed that's not PlayStation Plus Plus, because that would have been.
That's what I'm
hilariously
gonna
dumb.
call it, because that's easier to memorize. So I'm gonna call it plus,
cool.
plus, plus, and plus,
Plus,
plus, plus. I'm
Right.
going plus times 3. Yeah, I'm going plus, plus, plus. 'Cause I
My
want
thing
those
is, I
last
think at
games.
launch, I will definitely go premium to try the PSP games and do all the stuff and see what they got there. But it'll be like, I think at first it would be hey, I'm doing this for a month and seeing what they have, and then what are they doing the next month before I commit to it. I'm with you, Janet, that I think it's whelming. It's what it would be, right? I was with you in the run up to it, where obviously so many leaks in Bloomberg and Jeff Grubb and yada yada yada. That I thought we had a good head on our shoulders for what it was going to be. And yeah, I never expected it to be the Game Pass competitor. I never expected it to be. I thought people were dreaming when they were saying they were going to get downloadable PS3 games. And so I think it's underwhelming based on the expectations that got set so high. I think, it versus Game Pass is a different conversation. And I think it honestly has different objectives other than make money, obviously, but different objectives to it. And that's where it gets into well, what are you doing and how do you want it and blah, blah, blah. Personally, if I was casting the vote on that, I would think Game Pass is more impressive than this. But again, I think this is trying to do something different than Game Pass.
For sure, yeah, and I also stand out. I love that we're all using the same word here, but I'm also whelmed, right? Like, this is exactly what the reports were, and this is exactly, like, I think the most, like, unexciting version of this. I am disappointed by not getting the PS3 downloadable games. I think that's something that, like, isn't necessarily a slam dunk of a prediction, but something that they should do, right? I think it's dumb that they're not available.
And there was smoke, like Tim says, where there's smokes, there's fires.
Why does he say it like that, though? I hate that.
Where, like, there was, like, the tech that Cerny, like, was trying to trademark or whatever, that the technology to make it possible for PS3 games to be
I'm not
natively, so.
And, like, I think
that was the only reason why I was hoping for it. If we hadn't heard rumors of whatever that was happening, I wouldn't have expected a.
See, I don't. For me, I don't even care about this. Like, because there was that, but I don't even care about the smokes. It's just the fact that it's a
smoke.
Thing that
it's just smoke. It's singular. You don't have to say
smoke.
smoke.
No, it's plural because there's a lot of smokes.
Yeah,
it's a lot of smokes. Like, you look around and smokes all around you.
Yeah.
But, like, it's the fact that they should do it, right? And I think the fact that it's unavailable is just dumb. Like, I get the technological hurdles they had to jump through, but, like, it's you, like, you're PlayStation. Figure out how to play PlayStation 3 games. Like, these are your games. Let us play them. And so, like, that's kind of where I come down on it. But yeah, like, in terms of what the service is, I'm whelmed, but I'm also, like, I'm holding out for what the library is, because I think the library could possibly spark excitement if it's an exciting library, but I'm also not.
I can't wait to see it be jack shit and everybody be pissed.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm expecting. Like, if I had to predict, I'm going to say that, oh yeah, it's going to be the same library for PS Now, and then very few PS2 and PS1 games. And I'll also be once again whelmed.
They just aren't, there's no motivation for them to do it. There's no motivation for them to pour that money into making PS3 out there for you to emulate or whatever, because who cares? Nobody, like, I know everybody wants to act like they're. Yeah, but it doesn't stop you. You're still buying all the PlayStation stuff. You're still buying your PS5.
Well, what am I going to do? Not buy the PS5?
I'm not saying you're the problem. I'm just letting you know that I just think everybody gets mad on Twitter about backwards compatibility, and then, like, nobody cares. It doesn't stop. They don't hold them to it. Xbox is what I'm doing right now.
That's why I'm yelling at them. Figure it out. Mark Cerny, because I'm sure that's your job. Actually, probably is your job.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to yell at us, you can go to patreon.com/kindafunnygames, of course, where you could write in to be part of the show, where, of course, you can be watching live just like Levster is, and then Nina is, and Joshy GR. And, of course, you could get the show ad-free over there. But guess what, Jack? You're not watching on patreon.com/kindafunnygames. So here's a word from our sponsor.
Shout out to Uplift for sponsoring this episode. I've been using my Uplift desk for well over a year now. I love the thing so much I decided to write a rap song for them. The build quality is real good. It's made of real high quality wood. They didn't ask for it, I just did it anyway. Getting my Uplift desk immediately improved my mood. Whenever I'm on shows, I'm standing up, I'm feeling a lot more energetic. And also, I kind of feel like I was just maybe creating some bad habits sitting down at a desk all day. I would move my legs up, I'd sit underneath my legs on my chair, and eventually all that stuff just created really bad back pain for me. Choose from laminate, whiteboard, bamboo, solid wood, butcher block, or even custom solid wood or laminate options. Uplift Desk won New York Times Wirecutter's Best Standing Desk from 2019 to 2022. And while I'm at it, I'm just gonna give them an award as well. Best standing desk that I use in my bedroom from when they sent it to me until now. Uplift Desk have a 15-year warranty. They ship the same day you order with free shipping and free return shipping. So if you've been feeling the effects of sitting at a desk for 8 hours a day, maybe you want some more energy in your life, maybe you want to do squats in the middle of a Zoom call or something, Uplift your life. Go to kindafunny.com/uplift.
Blessing.
Greg,
What's happening this week in PlayStation?
let's start off with E3 2022. Greg, Janet, it's been fully canceled. I'm going to read from Rebecca Valentine over at IGN. After previously canceling its in-person E3 2022 event, the ESA has now informed its partners that there will be no digital event equivalent this year either, meaning E3 2022 has fully been canceled. The news broke via a tweet from Razer PR lead Will Powers, who said that an email had been sent out announcing the cancellation of a digital E3 event. IGN has independently verified the contents of the email as well. The ESA had initially planned for an in-person E3 event this year after having no event in 2020 due to COVID-19 and a digital one in 2021. And I'll add here that it was hosted by the one and only Greg Miller of PSLW XOXO.
Going out on a high note.
Say, did Greg get E3 canceled? Who knows?
They canceled me first, remember? All right, they banned me,
That's true.
so it's only fair that I ban them at the end.
Exactly. However, this was canceled in January, with the ESA at the time unable to make a public statement on whether or not there would be a digital equivalent. According to sources speaking to IGN at the time, discussions around E3 had been fraught throughout the year, with third parties normally involved finding the ESA's ongoing silence regarding their plans frustrating. Sources connected to the event tell IGN that discussion about a possible digital equivalent have been ongoing ever since, but without strong momentum to drive them. Instead, the ESA seems to be making plans to regroup for a larger comeback in 2023. IGN has reached out to the ESA for comment. And this is one that, it's funny bringing it up during a PlayStation podcast because PlayStation hasn't been at E3 for quite a few years. But it's one that I think it's one worth bringing up to ask the question, was PlayStation right leaving E3?
Apparently, right? They were ahead of their time for sure. I think at the time we read it as hubris that PlayStation thought that they were king shit and everybody would follow them. And guess what? They were king shit and everybody would follow them. And, as the ESA continues to implode and E3 continues to falter and now be canceled, right? Like, it feels like you see all the time from PR marketing people talking about just how egregiously expensive it was to be there. They had this stranglehold, they had this monopoly, and now because of the digital revolution and the ability to go make your own showcase and your own events, like, it's clear you don't need to be there. Do you agree with that, Janet?
I mean, I kind of have to, because we haven't seen anything negative come for PlayStation out of them leaving E3. It's not like, oh, now there's not like a big hype cycle around that time, or now there's no, like, the communication is falling apart. Like, we don't really have any of those problems, like, of all of the, marketing beefs that we might have with, like, PlayStation Showcase versus PlayStation's State of Play and all of that. Like, those are kind of separate issues from, like, the E3 and, like, the summer hype cycle. But, like, it was nice having things under, like, a singular umbrella, but at the same time, like, this was like a perfect storm of, like, bad things happening. I feel like COVID inadvertently exposed just, like, a lot of different things for different people on small and, like, big company scales. And I think here it's, like, the struggle of, like, this thing that was kind of falling apart, and then, the ESA kind of, like, maybe making some bad decisions and then leaking everyone's information. And then it's like, how do you do a show digitally? And, like, do people actually know how to, like, put this together? And then it's like, well, what are we here paying for? And there was that weird, like, virtual chat room space for like, it got a lot of stuff just started kind of, like, falling apart, and it was like, let me try to piece together this thing that's already sort of broken, and unsurprisingly, like, it's not going well and it's canceled, and who's to know what's to come of this. I'm just waiting for, like, who is going to be our new leader that we have to be.
What are you talking about? Everybody genuflected Jeff Keighley right now. He's slowly on the rise forever, and this is it, man.
I mean,
that's my thing is you
person, but I don't think he's. Yes.
Oh, go for it. Go. Actually, I do want to hear what you're about to say, because I'm very curious.
I don't think it's there yet. Like, I don't think it's hot in the streets enough. And that's no shade to, like, Jeff and his work, but, like, I think it'll get there. It's just not fully there yet. Like, because I still personally felt the gap between, like, an E3 thing and what Jeff does. Like, I watched what Jeff did, and I didn't feel what I feel when I watch E3 showcases. And, like, I think that'll come with time, but it's not like,
see, I think we're about to be at that time.
That's my thing, is I think people fought a bit, not fought, I shouldn't say that. Last year was a, oh shit, what do we do kind of thing. And I really hope that, Jeff was going to be like, grab the wheel, take control. You go here, Microsoft, you go here.
Wheel by the horns. Yeah, just like,
you heard. Yeah, I like that you could tell I was totally fucking it up and I just had to abandon. But I think now that he's the only game in town, I think it'll move to what it really should be. Because last year it was just, and this is no shade to Jeff because he had his own things here and there, but it mainly felt like just a catch-all to react, similar to what we do on Twitch. Whereas I think I want to see What's up, everybody? Welcome to Summer Game Fest. I'm Jeff, and here's like how it's going to go for the next 3 days. And we have a week or whatever the hell he's going to do and try to get everybody in line there. And again, this year it might be too late for that. I know Jeff's been working already on it, but I think next year you'll definitely see like, all right, cool. I am the game. This is what it is.
Yeah, like I mean, Jeff Keighley tweeting out the winky emoji was like enough for me to go, okay, no, he's like
Jeff,
he's
dude,
ready to
he
swoop in.
revels in watching the ESA and E3
Yeah.
flounder in his absence, and you gotta respect it.
And I think, like you mentioned, Janet, you mentioned that like will we see this stuff happen under a big umbrella? And I think Jeff will be that big umbrella. Like I think the difference between Jeff and the ESA is that like when we hear companies and like people talk about communicating with the ESA and communicating with like these organizations to put together these presentations, the thing I hear all the time about the ESA is how difficult the ESA is to work with, and how like for E3 to like get a spot in E3 you have to pay millions of dollars, right? Like ESA is known for leaking shit, known for leaking people's information. Like there's so much shit in terms of like the ESA and how roughly it's run versus Jeff Keighley, who seems like in terms of like communication and being a part of that showcase seems way easier to work with than the ESA. He seems to have his shit together way more than the ESA, and like I can't speak from experience because I've not worked with Jeff Keighley, but just from the outside looking
You're
in,
future class.
I am future class, so I guess I have hung out with Jeff Keighley a few times. But like based on how people talk about working with the ESA versus Jeff Keighley, it seems like Jeff Keighley is the more desirable option, and it seems like these companies still want to attach themselves to something like an E3, right? And I think if it's not E3, it would be. I think Jeff Keighley is next up in that thing because I think there's something nice about having one uniform. You can call it, I guess, a celebration of the industry, right? Or one uniform marketing event where everybody can go to announce their big shit or announce their small games or whatever it may be, right? I think people still like the idea of that, but it has to take place in a new form that I think the ESA has just had so much trouble adapting to. Whereas Jeff Keighley is kind of all about like adapting and figuring out like what that new form is. And so as everybody's going to digital, as everybody's going to like being spread out over the summer as opposed to being all contained in 1 week, I think the last few years of Summer Games Fest has been Jeff slowly evolving into that. Because I've had plenty of critiques and plenty of issues with like Summer Games Fest and how it's gone the last few years just in terms of the messiness of it all and how unorganized it feels, right? And I think a lot of that has just been outside of the hands of Jeff Keighley. It's been him attaching himself to, oh yeah, New Game Plus Expo is happening, I'm gonna put my name on it. Like Xbox is doing a thing, I'm gonna talk about it on our Twitter and like make it a Summer Games Fest thing. I think this year would be the year to be a little bit more hands-on if he's able to get that access. And I'm excited and curious to see if he's able to pull it off, because I think like I think in the next 2 to 3 years we'll know if like Jeff Keighley did it or if the ESA somehow like rose from the ashes.
There's no way Jeff won't do it. That's my thing. Is I think that say what you will, and obviously we're sharing just stories from other people that you can find or whatever, the ES being hard to work with or this, that, the other. I mean, I guess if you were at E3, they leaked your information, so that part and that's real or whatever. But like in terms of this in particular, the reason Jeff will succeed at it is because he's been doing it forever. Everybody knows him, and it just makes sense to be Summer Game Fest, and then also have Cologne in there, right? He's been doing the one night stand, which is I always call it the ECW thing, opening night live, opening night live of Gamescom.
One
right?
night stand's a separate thing.
ECW one night stand. And then Game Awards at the end, and so it's that thing has just been around forever. Jeff's
got almost the whole year locked down.
And
he does.
And guess what? It's because he's the only game in
he's
town.
running Christian Girl Autumn. Like he's running it all.
I mean, think about the fact that like you've had in the previous years, right? You've had Nintendo announce things pretty much at every single Game Awards, right? Like you got Joker from Persona and Smash. You got like the Zelda trailer. You got all this stuff at the Game Awards. Not opening night live. Summer Games Fest kickoff, which was the thing that happened the same week as E3 last year, that had Elden Ring, the biggest game of this year. That had Deviation Studios, which seems small, but also like that's a PlayStation announcement, right? PlayStation could have done that on their own. That's PlayStation coming to Jeff Keighley and Deviation, I guess, being like, hey, announce that thing for us. They had Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, right? Like they had plenty of games at that Summer Games Fest kickoff that like are an example of the partnerships and the example of the deals that Jeff Keighley is making to make this shit dope. And then also I can't remember what happened in Open Night Live. I guess Saints Row happened. So you had that, right? Like Jeff Keighley has the connections. I loved it. Has the connections to make this shit work. And I think like him doubling down and being like, all right, Xbox, all right, Nintendo, all right, PlayStation. Like I wouldn't be surprised if there was at least one PlayStation announcement at whatever the next Summer Games Fest kickoff thing is this summer.
And he could do it. And again, because he's also stitching together what it is. And so if he can talk to PlayStation and they'll share with him what they're doing and when they're going with whatever state of play, you can stitch it around that and make it work and have his own thing and have it be there. And I think you know, Jeff understands it from a content perspective in the way the ESA never did. The ESA understood it from a money and old school, you know, suits running the top of the corporation, whereas Jeff is somebody who's been embedded with different developers for so long. He has people's respect. They know they can trust him with stuff, and he's got an eye for, you know, what the audience wants because he's so dialed in and reads everything and is in there. And like, I think, again, I don't think, well, I think I was going to say, you can look at the Game Awards, and every Game Awards evolves and changes. And Jeff immediately is on Twitter that night and then into the next week of trying to go through what people think. This Summer Game Fest, I do not think will be what his vision for what it will become will be. I think next year would be the real one. But I do think this one will be a step forward from what I thought was a very hodgepodge one last year. That could have just been a Twitch channel reacting to all the different conferences.
Next up for this week in PlayStation, number 2, PS Plus games have been announced for April. We're getting Hood, Outlaws, and Legends, like Greg mentioned earlier, SpongeBob SquarePants, Battle for Bikini Bottom, Rehydrated, and then Slay the Spire. And then another one hidden in that same PlayStation blog post, Persona 5 is leaving PS Plus collection on May 11th. You can still add the game to your library before then to continue to access it while you have an active PS Plus subscription. So that's your PS Plus PSA for you. Number 3, Janet, get those games. Slay the Spire is
the
pretty
Royale
cool.
version of it, so I'm not gonna get that.
That's the version to play, and now people can stop asking me, Barrett, which version do I play?
They're still gonna ask you,
Persona 5 or Persona 5 Royal, and then I answer Royal, and then like, well, the original game's on PS Plus collection, so I'll just get that version. It's like, well,
so
why did
make
you
sure
ask
you
me?
download it so you can ask Barrett still, which you should play.
Yeah. Here's the
download this version and be like, I should have gotten Royal, Barrett.
And I also,
please do download, play through this full version, and then tweet at Barrett being like, "Oh, damn, you're right."
Royal is always on sale at some point or another, whether it's through the digital store or on Amazon. Just get Royal. Also, I know there are people out there who are using this to like, predict like, oh, is it going to come to, Xbox and stuff? Because literally anything Persona news, all the Xbox are like, oh, it's finally going to come to Xbox. No, probably a license just ran out. That's it. Don't read into it.
Number 3 for this week in PlayStation. What is Greg hiding? I asked for the second time this week. I'm pulling from Video Games Chronicle. This is Andy Robinson. PlayStation is tipped for a busy week of announcements. The article reads like this. PlayStation has been tipped for a busy week of announcements, according to journalists covering the games industry. Prominent reporter Greg motherfucking Miller of KindaFunny announced on Sunday that he would be delaying this week's edition of his popular PlayStation podcast, PS Love You XOXO, which you're listening to right now, due to 3 rumor quote.
This is some straight up Inception shit right now as you listen to the delayed episode. Remember, we're moving the show to record on Thursdays, post on Fridays now. Sorry.
According to the 3 rumors that Greg's heard about impending announcements, quote, man, looking like it might be a very interesting week for PlayStation if even one of the 3 rumors I've heard is true, he wrote. As such, we're gonna delay recording PS Love You XOXO until Thursday, end quote. Which, to Greg's credit, right? All Greg said was we're delaying due to if one of the 3 rumors Greg has heard are true, and one of those was Project Spartacus, which we talked all about. And so there you go.
Thank you for defending my honor. We don't have to spend too much time on it, but it is obviously a weird, interesting meta story to put in here. You can go to today's Games Daily, so March 31st's Games Daily, because we had Jeff Grubb, who was in the chat, and obviously a kind of funny best friend, pop on and talk about this with me. And it's that weird thing of like, I tweeted this from the farmer's market, mainly just thinking for kind of funny best friends of like, oh yeah, we're moving PS I Love You. We think we might permanently move it, but like, I want to make sure you know why it's not recording on Monday now. And then I woke up on Monday to actual news stories about it, and I was like, all right. And so I run through it on Games Daily, but to do it here at the top level, right? Number 1 obviously was Project Spartacus, now PS Plus, where again we've heard about it forever, but multiple sources, and you saw multiple articles last week saying it was happening this week. Second one was what I thought was going to be a PlayStation VR 2 thing. It turned out to just be smoke. It totally didn't work out. On Monday's Games Daily, I talked about that too, of like, you'll know by the end of the day if I've said something about it, if it's real or if I'm embargoed or if it's just not real. And it just turned out to be not what it should have been. And I don't want to talk about it because it's something that things get fucked up, and I've used it before to find out information I shouldn't know, so I don't want to give away how I find out that information. And then the third one is the most interesting in terms of like a news thing, but it's also the very nebulous, and like this is what me and Jeff are talking about on Games Daily together, right? It's that the rumor is that there's another Sony acquisition incoming, another PlayStation acquisition incoming. The rumor is that it's big, and it's that thing where I've heard this from multiple sources. Jeff today on Games Daily was saying he's heard it from multiple sources, but it's so nebulous that it's not. Neither of us want to be like, this is what it is.
It's like you heard it from somebody who heard it from somebody else type of thing.
And I'm sure everybody who's made it this deep into the show knows that I'm not the rumor guy. I am not the here's on my vague tweets or shit like that. I really don't do that kind of stuff.
Why do you claim to constantly be a PlayStation insider? You obviously don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Well, first off,
why would you start these rumors? Why would you just come out here and say there's pretty big announcements happening this week?
That's true.
And so it was that thing of like, it seemed like early, like over the weekend when this happened and multiple people were talking to me about this thing, independently saying the same thing. I was like, okay, maybe that's what's happening this week. And so it was this idea of we're moving the show because I knew what was going to happen. I knew we would record fucking PS I Love You on Monday, and then Tuesday morning it would be PlayStation Plus. And guess what? The fucking episode's immediately out of date. So it's like, well, let's hold it till a new thing. Let's go on Thursdays from here to try to catch all the week's news. Inevitably, I was made this joke on Games Daily. Inevitably, this means that tomorrow, Friday, they will announce this acquisition. And this show will be immediately out of date. But it's, how you do it with content and stuff like that. So
tomorrow is a new quarter.
I went 1 for 3 this week. I went one. It's also April Fool's, which definitely strikes me as not the day to announce a major acquisition. So we'll see. But I went 1 for 3 this week. And when we cross, if there's a huge acquisition down the line and it's what it is, I'll be like, that is exactly what we thought it was going to be, or that is not what it was, and whatever. But it's been a fun week.
To the PSVR thing,
that's the other thing too. I'm sorry to give you a fun thing, interesting thing. Again, I've never been the like I know a lot of stuff. I know a lot of stuff. Thank you, Janet. I know a lot of stuff. Thanks for fuck off and be on my side. I've known a lot of things over the years, and you've heard the stories and yada 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 of me like fucking saying things. But I never like publicly talk about it. Once I opened this door on Sunday, holy shit, did people come out of the woodwork to be like, oh, what is it? And I'll tell you, and I tell them something like, all right, cool. Well, do you want to know? I'm like, holy fuck, why? Like, it was interesting of like, if you want to be the rumor trader, it's like the Silk Road out there. People are trading left and right with things.
What else are you hiding then?
I can't tell you that now.
Blink twice if God of War Ragnarok is going to get a preview event next month.
I mean, I don't know. I think it's got to happen eventually. I don't know if it'll be next month.
Blink 3 times if...
Move on!
Number 4.
This is horrible for audio listeners. Just like, is he blinking? I can't hear his blinks.
God damn. Everybody's golf is shutting down. I'm sorry, Greg. I'm pulling from
This
Marcus
is fucking
Stewart.
bullshit. You're goddamn right. You should be sorry.
Yeah, this is Marcus. I'm bummed out too. This is Marcus Stewart at Game Informer. If you've been hitting the links online in Everybody's Golf, your days on the green are now numbered. Sony has announced that the online servers for the 2017 title are shutting down later this year. That's even more fucked up. The fact that this game only came out in 2017 is already shutting down. The shutdown occurs on September 30th, as per a message that appears when you visit the game's PlayStation Store page. It also states that all online features, including online multiplayer modes, will cease on that date. You'll still be able to play and enjoy the game in single-player offline modes, end quote. This also means that some online dependent trophies will no longer be attainable. There's no official explanation for the shutdown, but maintaining servers costs money. Greg, when you heard about this, how'd you feel?
It sucks, dude. And it's that thing of like, we had a quick resurgence. My timetables are all fucked up. A quick resurgence of this like before Benjamin, right? So like September, is that when I was playing Andy, or
was it
this year?
That long? I thought it was this year.
It was either January or it was way out there, but it was where we were going around and we were all playing again, and we were playing online. And so it's a heartbreaker right now because we're still remote. Like when we get back to the studio and like can do things there, it'll be a different story. Maybe we, and who knows if we'll get back into it ever, blah, blah, blah. But it's also just sad because it feels like the end of an era.
Who wonders if we'll get back in? You're talking about the game, not the studio, right?
Oh no, we'll get back to the studio. Yeah, I mean, when we get there, are we gonna play back? Are we gonna play Hot Shots? Or are we gonna play WWE 2K22? In crazy outfits. No, it seems like the end of an era because of course this is Clap Hands who makes this, and Clap Hands usually when they, I shouldn't say usually, but in the past when they've wound down the servers for one, it's because they're putting out another Everybody's Golf / Hot Shots.
That's my question. Do you think they're gonna put out another one because of this?
Well, no, because now they're making that iOS game. Remember, they've gone and started making Clap Hands Golf, and they were one of the ones that were working with the Sony Japan team on that, right? And remember when they closed down Sony Japan, like we're not really doing that anymore. Team Asobi's it. Like we're not going to have the people to help with external developers. These were Clap Hands was one of those people that was like there. So I was like, fuck, okay, cool. And like, yeah, what this means for the future of Everybody's Golf, who knows? And it sucks because this last one was so good and so definitive. But now if you can't find people to play online, you can't do it. That sucks.
I'm right there with you. Do you think there's a chance that they ever buy Clap Hands PlayStation, or do you think that they've gone on, like they've moved on? I think
they've moved on. I think like that's a beloved franchise for like the PlayStation hardcore, but I don't think like it's moving major units where they need to worry about it.
The ultimate rematch between Greg and Andy for Everybody's Golf was 2 months. It was January 14th, so that was this year, Greg.
Man, I have
That was
no
my turn.
concept of time anymore. I
Yeah.
apologize.
I honestly thought when you mentioned September, I was like, damn, it could have been. Like time does feel like a flat circle at this point.
Yeah, see, at PCMag.com, after 23 years, Everybody's Golf developer Clap Hands is no longer PlayStation exclusive. Ever since it was founded in 1998, Japanese game developer Clap Hands has focused on producing everybody's titles released exclusively for PlayStation. Damn.
Now it's time for PlayStation picks. We've kind of changed up PlayStation picks for this new version of PS Love You XOXO. I'm going to read off the big games of the week, and then the picks themselves are going to be the games that me, Janet, and Greg have played during the week that we want to shout out. I think we're doing like one game each that we want to shout out that are each of our picks for the week. So let's start off with the big releases of the week. We got Lawn Mowing Simulator. That's coming to PS5 and PS4 on March 31st. Moss Book 2, that's coming out on PlayStation VR, March 31st, 2022. Tropico 6, that's coming out for PS5 on March 31st. And then Weird West is coming to PS5 and PS4 on March 31st. Greg,
Yeah.
what did you pick for PlayStation this week?
I played a bit of Moss beforehand. I apologized on Games Daily for this. You know what a fan of Moss Book 1 I was. The problem was that Moss Book 2's review code showed up yesterday at like 11 a.m., which was just not enough time to hit a review for embargo because my days were booked. So after Games Daily today, I actually got to put about an hour and a half into Moss Book 2. And it's more Moss, which is fantastic. If you're not familiar, of course, you are the reader, this, ghost face thing that can interact with the world. There you see it if you're watching. And then you also control Quill, the mouse there, as you go on an epic journey of adventure with Quill. And the idea, as I described it the first time around, right, is that you are in basically, it starts with you reading a book, the Moss book in the library, then you go into the pages. And what you're met with are these kind of diorama levels or whatever, where you are inside of them and then you move Quill in around too. But so you're moving Quill in a third person actiony way, isometric, you're locked in your view, except you can move your head in and put your head around and look around corners and stuff like that. And then also then your ghost powers, you use to move blocks and do puzzles and figure out how to get Quill from point A to point B, but of course get off the beaten path and pick up a scroll and do whatever. Just like the first game, it is charming as all hell, dude. I'm having such a good time with the story. Again, there's a narrator to it that does all the voices of the characters, so it's like you're being told the story, which is amazing. She does voices, she does this, and then also like the first one, and I haven't played Moss 1. I should have gone back and played Moss 1 in the lead up to this, but like the first one, the environments are gorgeous, and I feel like they are way bigger. I've been just an hour or so in, I've been in these big cathedrals, these big throne rooms, the detail in them, the color in them. And then what's cool about this one is that you're going between realms, and so going into a different realm, like obviously Moss Book 1 was very, all right, Quill's trying to get all the way to fight the snake to save her uncle or grandfather, I forget. Janet, you played this with me, right? You forget? Okay.
I don't remember.
Doesn't matter. Save her family member. But it was all very much like, okay, cool. It's in her world. It's very green. It's very lush. It's a foresty environment. Like going on the other side of this one, right, is I went to the fairy realm, and it's these beautiful neons, almost like an underwater coral reef kind of look to it. And then looking up into this starry sky, like I feel like there's a lot more detail. I feel like the game's even more beautiful than Moss. But again, those are feelings based. I haven't gone back to play one, but even if they weren't, what I would tell you is if you dug the original Moss, I feel like so far this is more of that and probably a souped up version of that, which I enjoy. And
Has it been worth busting out the PSVR again for?
Jesus fucking Christ, blessing.
Mm-hmm.
Don't even get me started on this thing. I'm Greg, and I've fucking covered PlayStation for 15 years. I was a big proponent. We did 2 seasons of the PlayStation VR show. I loved my time with that. And as I always said, we finished Iron Man VR and I put it down, and then the PlayStation 5 came, and then I moved, and I've seen it in my laundry room, the PlayStation VR chilling there. I was like, one day, hooking up that goddamn octopus today, all I was thinking is like, goddamn, I can't wait for PlayStation VR 2. To the point that I was like, do I even want to continue to play Moss Book 2, which is a great game so far? I'm enjoying. Do I want to do it, or do I want to have what I'm sure will be the superior experience? Because even there, as you look, if you're a visual listener, right, it's my PlayStation 5 with this goddamn snake's nest of cables, my Xbox Series X holding up the PlayStation Eye camera that's, then jury rigged to the thing with the PlayStation 5 adapter. I put it up there, and I still have the thing of, I have the headset on, and I'm sitting there listening, and there's that just wiggle of movement. You know what I mean? Of like as if I'm moving my head in or out, or the camera is in the breeze, neither of which are happening. And it's like, this is making me car sick. Why is it like this? The Oculus Quest 2, or I'm sorry, the Meta Quest 2 does not do this. I do not feel that. And
Wait,
so,
it's
like,
not called the Meta Quest 2. Is it?
Oh,
It
yeah.
is now.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Because it has to do with the
That's
timeslot.
disgusting.
But to sit
That's
there and
all.
think about playing that game now in PlayStation VR 2, if it's backwards compatible, like with the inside out tracking and all that stuff, I'd be all about that. But it was also the same thing of like, I haven't done this on the PlayStation 5. So I sat down and booted it. I did all the cables. I hooked up all the things, booted it up, went in there, start the game. And it's like, grab the pages with R2. And I'm like, I have the DualSense and I'm doing it. And I'm like, wait, fuck. I'm like, I thought, oh shit, God, I had to go charge a DualSense 4 or a DualShock 4 to bring it out, to get the light bar to work, to be able to grab it. It was like, oh my God. Ah, good Lord. No, thank you.
Yeah, I mean,
Game's fun, but it's like, man, am I going back in time? I'm putting the headset on, and I have one of the PlayStation VRs that's been used so much that like the faux leather, that plastic stuff is like breaking down. So I have like, I look like it's like Ash Wednesday. I got all this crap all over my head as I go around.
Yeah, I've been like dreading the idea of possibly busting out my PSVR because I also want to play Moss Book 2, but it's just like, do I want to bust out the PS? Because I'm not even figuring out how it would work in my setup. Right. And I'm not excited enough about the game and about specifically the hardware to like figure out how to make it, like how to set it up with my TV back there and make it so that I have enough space and do all that stuff. I do think that when I have a PSVR 2, I'll feel a lot more excited about it in the way that like when I got my PS5, I couldn't wait to play all these different PS5 games. Like it's like having that new piece of hardware makes playing games exciting. Like I remember booting up Devil May Cry 5 that I'd played like a year and a half before that, right? But like I got the 60 FPS, I got all the bells and whistles, and I was ready to play anything. I think by the time I get a PSVR 2, I'll be excited to play Moss Book 2, and I'll be like, oh yeah, like whatever I can play on this thing, I'll play on this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't decided if I'm gonna do that work either, because like literally code hit my email and I was like, oh wow, this already? And then literally the next thing I said aloud was, but PSVR 2 is in here. Am I really supposed to go and like dig out all the stuff and like, you know, rewire it and do all of that? Like I don't know. I might just to knock it out, because I don't know if I want to wait that long to like dig in, but it is kind of a bummer that it's like here on like hardware I thought I was never gonna have to put on again.
Yeah, and then you have to hold that hope that, of course, it's backwards compatible. Even though I would think they'd make, if for some reason they fucking make it backwards compatible. I know you got to do a whole bunch of bells and whistles, hoops, and whatever. But like, even if it's not, Moss for sure, I would imagine gets a collector's edition, whatever, that compiles both of them in a PSVR 2
Director's cut
way to play it. That's what I'm looking for. Thank you. And real quick, that's my pick, obviously, in terms of what and again, we talked about this, you know, what'd you pick on PlayStation this week? Doesn't mean it's the best thing you've played on PlayStation, it's what you ended up and what you want to talk about. I wanted to call this out. I got an email today about a game called Tape, and it looks like a Greg game. Which means it's a Janet game because we're the same person.
Okay, yeah.
And it also looks like a Blessing game. If you can run the trailer for me, I want to read it, Barrett. So, as Barrett cues up the trailer to show you guys, Tape is a first-person psychological thriller set in the north of Spain in the 1990s, where players will be able to use time to their advantage. Thanks to an old Super 8 camera, Ira, the main character, will be able to play with time to solve puzzles and try to remember the past events that led to her dad's disappearance, an acclaimed horror movie director. The game will challenge players to use the rewind mechanic to solve puzzles, escape the nightmares that inhabit Ira's memories, while exploring an eerie location heavily influenced by her dad's past work.
Holy shit. This looks
I'm
really cool.
all about this shit. Are you kidding me right now? Yeah, if you're not listening, like it's, you know, obviously Super 8 thing walking around, but it's like using time to rewind and do these things and move things around.
Oh my
There's
God.
tracking on it. Yeah, like make your own doors out and stuff. Like will it work? I don't know. This is definitely not one where I'm like, take it to the bank and buy, you know, pre-order now kind of thing, but it looks fun. Like I like what I'm seeing.
This looks dope as hell. It reminds me a little bit of Superliminal.
Superliminal?
And the perspective stuff where like there was a clip there that Barry was showing of the dude with the camera. He's looking through the camera, looks at the door, and then rewinds, and the door rewinds back to where it was before it fell. And then he's like walking through like a spiral staircase type thing. It looks like that's my type of shit. Yeah, like it looks like it has the puzzle solving stuff that I like in a game like that. And also, I was having this conversation recently. I forget with who, on what show, or even if it was on a show. But I was talking about how much I miss walking sims and like the era of walking sims. I feel like we kind of come and gone on like, you know, when Gone Home came out and that was such a thing. And then it was when it was with Tim, because we were talking about that game, the comedy
Finch?
No, the comedy game.
No. I know.
Stanley Parable.
Stanley Parable.
Because I got a new date, which I'm very excited for. But we were talking about that, and we were talking about how like, man, we don't talk about walking sims as much, and I've been like kind of waiting on a new one to play. And so like Stanley Parable first and foremost, I'm very excited about because that's coming out in April. But yeah, this is one I definitely want to check out too. Thanks for bringing this up, Greg.
One of the things the final cool thing to do about it is that it's a PlayStation Talents game. Launched in 2015 by Sony Interactive Entertainment Spain, the PlayStation Talents program aims to unify all the initiatives put together by local Spanish branch in order to develop the Spanish creativity. The goal of the PlayStation Talents program is to support the local industry as well as to create video games fully developed in Spain to be sold around the globe, which is a cool initiative.
That's awesome. I didn't know that existed.
Blessing, what's your PlayStation pick, or what's your pick on PlayStation this week?
My pick on here's the thing, right? I'm looking at the doc, and I think we all agreed to one game. Though I'm looking at Janet's bullet point list here.
I bolded the one I'm going to talk about.
Okay, but those are just there just in case. Because like here's the thing, I have two games I do want to talk about, but the only one that I can pick.
Opening up behind the scenes now, like now I have to
Because
reveal the whole process.
I'm gonna
listen. When we rehearsed this entire show earlier today,
I'm gonna talk about my game, and then Janet's gonna talk about 3, and I'm like, oh, I could have talked about that thing that I wanted to talk about.
I'm gonna talk about 1. I wasn't sure what we were doing. I listed it out, so I'd have stuff ready to go. I saw what we were doing.
Janet, we can revolt against Greg Miller, right? We can rebel. We don't have to like.
What is up with the rebelling?
He had the Moss book too, but then he's like also like shout out. But I feel like. But I feel like that shout-out's different than what I played.
Yeah,
you know,
that wasn't him talking about a game he played. He's just like, hey, keep an eye out.
Yeah, look at that. CEO Junior knows where his bread's buttered. All right,
but also still
he enjoyed no union with you, Blessing. Get out of here.
I'm just saying, you know, us workers can unite. So my pick is Returnal, the Ascension DLC. Of course, that's what they announced at the previous PlayStation State of Play. It is free if you have Returnal, and it comes with a co-op mode for the main Returnal campaign, which I'll talk about a little bit because I did do that with Andy on a stream. And when I tell you that the game gets exponentially harder when you're playing on co-op in a way that I did not expect. We were struggling, me and Andy. I think it's a couple of things. I think they make the enemies a bit harder to kill when you're playing on co-op. And then when you're playing on co-op, you share loot. And with Returnal, like the whole thing is the loot. The whole thing is like figuring out what your build is as you're going and figuring out what parasites to pick up, what guns to pick up, all this stuff. And all that stuff is shared between the two players. And so, and when I say shared, I mean like you guys have to choose who gets what, right? You're seeing the same thing drop from the chest and all that stuff, and you have to pick who is going to pick each thing up. Ooh. And so there's just less loot. And so like the enemies are harder and you're upgrading slower, which makes it for me infinitely way harder. Me and Andy were doing a race against Mike and Nick to see who could get the furthest in Returnal. And in this 2-hour event that we did, it might have been like an hour and a half actually. In this hour and a half, it took us until the end of the hour and a half before we actually beat the first biome. Which in a regular playthrough of Returnal, like I could get done with the first biome in like less than 20 minutes, right? Maybe like 15 minutes, depending on how long it's taking me.
Damn, is that how fast it was supposed to take? Because I took me way
like,
longer on just the normal mode.
Like at least for me, like I played like 30 hours of Returnal when it first came out, and so like I built up that muscle memory and like the flow of the game by then. And so if I sit down and play Returnal right now in single player, I can blow through the first biome. It was a struggle for me and Andy to get through the first one, and that might have just been me and Andy. You know, that might just be like the synergy that me and him have, and it might have been the thing of, hey, we're both two dope ass shooter players, but when we unite, we just disintegrate. Like
it's
we crumble.
like you can't have two LeBrons on a team, right? It just
exactly work. Yeah, and I think it could be the case of me and Andy or LeBron, and it's just harder because of that. But also, I think the game is just harder on co-op. And so that's first and foremost. The thing that I do love about Returnal, the Ascension update / DLC, is that it comes with the Tower of Sisyphus, which is a new mode. It is if you've played Returnal, you've always seen when you're in that first area, when you first reawaken out of your ship, you look up and you see a cliff that is like impossible to get to. That obviously has a door. And it turns out it was just DLC. Any of us could have guessed it. I don't know why we didn't. Yeah, it was just the classic thing of that's so cool. That's what it is. You go through that door and you're in the DLC.
I was convinced it was something that I was missing after like playing so much of that game. I was like, I guess I'm never gonna find out what's up at that door. But that's cool that I was like finally answered. That's dope.
Yep, I had the exact same thing. When I was playing, I was like, what the fuck is that door? And then like I stopped playing. And I thought about it in the moment of like, it might be DLC. It might be a thing that's like post game, whatever. But yeah, you boot up, you do that, you go through that door, and then you get to the Tower of Sisyphus, which is this endless tower. And it's really fun. There's a lot more story stuff there than I would have imagined. Like they have more like, when you die and you get all the imagery and cool images, right? Like they've added more of that stuff in. They've added more first person segments in that like expand on Celine's story a bit. And they've added in like new weapons and abilities and stuff that really like expand on the gameplay of Returnal. It's like playing a different a different roguelite mode with all the same systems that make Returnal fun, but in this recontextualized way. And I've been having a blast with it. Like I think it eases you in a bit better in terms of the difficulty, because it is like I'm going through the first phase, which is 20 rooms. And the first phase is like pretty easy for the most part, and then you get to phase 2, and and at the top of phase 1, you fight a boss, you finish that, get to phase 2, and it's like a different area with a different aesthetic that looks like kind of looks like an end area from Elden Ring, honestly, with like all the debris and all the stuff floating. You get to that area and you go through your 20 rooms, face the boss, and it's that kind of endless loop that you keep going through. It feels almost like a more arcadey type setup, just in terms of the way they keep score and the way that like if you finish a room faster, that then upgrades your score. And like it seems like they put a lot more work into this thing than I would have imagined, and that they even needed to. And I've been having a blast with it. And I could see, honestly, like I could see myself by the time I put in 10 more, 15 more hours into this thing being like, yeah, this is just as fun, if not more fun than the main mode. I've been having a lot of fun with it. And so that's my pick, Returnal Ascension.
Janet, are we still going to try to play together? Or I think it sounds like it'll make it even worse for us.
I am still willing, but it sounds like it's going to be kind of an awful time, which could be entertaining for other people. Like, I'm always down for like, we're just here for the vibes. But I don't know. It sounds like we won't be able to even get through it then. I don't know. Blessing, what do you think? You know us. Be honest.
I think it's worth trying. God,
that was like a brutal answer from you. Like, honestly, it would have been better if you just talked shit about us. But for you to nicely, lightly lie, like it felt like when your parent doesn't want to tell you that you sucked at your play. You know what I mean?
But
like that was the energy.
I can see it being more fun with another person that's suffering with you is the thing. Like, I think there's some value in that. I will say that Nick Scarpino jumped into the game for the first time with one Snowbike Michelangelo. And by the end of the stream, Nick was sick of it. Nick was like, I'm not playing anymore this game. And so that might be the signal of like, maybe not. But I don't know, man. Returnal's a fun game. Maybe just pick it up again. Try it out. Just see.
Janet, what was your pick on PlayStation this week?
Outer Wilds, which I kind of mentioned a bit at the top, that I finally finished it. I really wanted to finish it before I left for my vacation. So I ended up on like Thursday or Friday, I forgot which day, just being like, hey, y'all, we're going to beat this game today. And then like the game was way longer than I thought it was going to be. So it took me like 11 hours that day to finish it. I did it like in 2 chunks. And honestly, I'm like really glad I saw it through. I was sort of like, maybe I shouldn't be seeing this all the way through because I'm not that into it, but I liked it enough that I'm like, let me just see what happens. I ended up enjoying it a lot more. I definitely do think it's a game that benefits from being played in bigger chunks closer together, because the way I was playing it was once a week at most, like, and I had like a gap where I'm like, oh, I have to take this week off, and then I had to come back to it. So I definitely suffered from like every time I streamed this game, because I did it all on stream, I spent the first hour trying to like reacclimate my mind and body to like navigating the area and knowing what was going on. And I always had chat helping me out, which was a big help, because there were some things that I felt like I was supposed to learn that I just like didn't fully connect the dots on. And I'm like, was I already supposed to know this? And they're like, no, yes. Or like, go here, little things like that. It's definitely a tough exploration game, but I think if you are down to explore and you are down to like think a little bit, I will say as a fellow dumb player, I was like out here like, I don't know what's going on. I'm reading, like people would constantly ask me like, so what's going on in the story? I'm like, oh, that's a great question. Let me look at my ship log and read the entire log to you, because I don't really know. So I did struggle a bit on that regard, but if you're down to like think even just a little bit about it, maybe even take, some notes on this. I mean, they have like a note-taking system built into the game with your ship log that is super helpful, but there are still some like struggle points. I think I had a hard time learning a lot of the systems because while I spent a lot of time on my home planet, which teaches you a lot of things, I like missed like the moon at my planet that like I went there like hours and hours later, like a dozen hours later. And I'm like, oh, this taught me something that would have been good to know when I first started the game. So
like the moon, like the actual moon itself.
Yeah, like the moon that's near me. Like it basically teaches you how to use like your signal scope and like kind of points out, hey, you can like find the other people. Yeah, like
Outer Wilds like is it's fascinating because like for me that game is so experiential and like you just do, and like the information comes, but like the whole game is just exploring and getting things. And like when I got to the moon planet and I did the thing with the signal scope and I was like, oh shit, all right, like I guess this is telling me where some shit is. I was like, oh, that's cool, but then I never figured it out.
Yeah, like it's definitely like a exploration puzzly thing, but I feel like it is unlike anything I've played for sure, and I generally walked away liking it okay. I don't know, it's like a weird mind fuck of a game.
Should I
You
go
didn't walk
back
away enraptured with it though, like so many people.
No, I wasn't totally enraptured, but I was definitely like impressed. Like
Okay.
at first I'm like, I'll be honest, y'all, I ain't really like seeing why you're obsessed with it. And I'm like, I kind of get it now, because once it starts to really click and you're like putting things together and you're like, okay, so then this is how I like move from this place to this place. And this is like, yeah, I'm trying to spoil like elements of the story, or like, okay, well, this is how this one thing functions. So if I take what I learned, I can now solve this puzzle. Is this just like this other thing I did? Oh my God, it is. Okay, who's this? What's this body on the floor? Boom. It's like somewhere, it's like weird supernatural sci-fi.
It's legitimately
fever
like,
dream.
it's a puzzle you're solving where every puzzle piece is like a different format. And so like this puzzle piece is like an audio track. This puzzle piece is like a weird orb. This puzzle piece is an actual puzzle piece. Like, and you're trying to like smush it all together and figure out like what the fuck any of this shit means. For Janet, for me as somebody who, I feel like I've tried Outer Wilds an unlimited amount of times. I think I've tried it like 9 different times, and I get like hours in each time, and I just fall off because I don't have that like drive in the gameplay loop that like gets me addicted, that makes me want to go back and like find the next thing. It's never caught me in that way. Is it worth just sitting down?
Really,
and
Mr. Elden Ring? That doesn't sit for. No, I'm just trolling you.
Oh yeah,
So
I was
many
saying
people
Elden Ring
have,
is fun for the combat for me.
yeah, but like I think I'm gonna say yes, especially if you're saying like that you want walking sim stuff, which granted it's not like a walking sim in the same sense as other ones, but you basically are just walking and floating around. Like I think it depends on what mood you're in. I will say I struggle to imagine you like loving it a whole lot more than me. I think you'll end up having around my opinion, but I think it is worth seeing. So yeah, I mean, I think if you're like willing to do an experiment, especially if you want to stream it just because it is helpful to have chat there, if you're willing to put a few big chunks of time into it, it could finally click for you. But it did take me a while. It wasn't until like I was 11, 12 hours in where I'm like, now I know how to play this game, but it's also because I played it very broken up. So yeah, try it out.
Try it out. What do you have
Try
to
it
lose? Ladies and gentlemen, that's PS I Love You XOXO, your PlayStation podcast. Remember, we record it live on patreon.com/kindafunnygames each and every Thursday, then posted for free on youtube.com/kindafunnygames, roosterteeth.com, and podcast services around the globe each and every Friday. Of course, you would not be able to write in. You wouldn't get your name read. You wouldn't get to watch it live. You wouldn't get to have the post show we're about to do. You wouldn't get to get your questions read and have a good time and ad free and all that jazz. But you'd still get a nice time over on YouTube or the podcast services. Remember, if you're playing that Fortnite, Rocket League, anything else on the Epic Game Store, creator code KindaFunny would help us out a lot. Right now, like I said, we're going to bounce out and do the post show we're calling PS I Love You XOXO Plus Premium. But until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you.